Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts.
I had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. Hey. I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady done did everything I asked of her, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in old days in Philly, we call these guys crazy. And that's the way these women are. So when you go back home, speak nice to your ladies.
Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts. I had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. Hey. I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady done did everything I asked of her, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in old days in Philly, we call these guys crazy. And that's the way these women are. So when you go back home, speak nice to your ladies.
Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts. had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. Hey, I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady done did everything I asked of, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in the old days in Philly, we call these guys crazy. And that's the way these women are. So when you go back home, speak nice to your
Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts.
I had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. Hey, I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady done did everything I asked of, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in the old days in Philly, we call these guys crazy. And that's the way these women are. So when you go back home, speak nice to your
Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts.
I had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. Hey, I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady done did everything I asked of, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in old days in Philly, we call these guys crazy. And that's the way these women are. So when you go back home, speak nice to your
Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts.
I had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady done did everything I asked of, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in old days in Philly, we call these guys crazy. And that's the way these women are. So when you go back home, speak nice to your
Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts.
I had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady done did everything I asked of, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in old days in Philly, we call these guys crazy. And that's the way these women are. So when you go back home, speak nice to your
Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to BodyWork Boxing. And I'm wondering, is boxing on borrowed time? Man, all this week, man, my little homies and family members been checking in saying, hey man, is any boxing on this weekend? I'm like, nah. I'm like, man, how is it not any boxing on this weekend? And the only way really to go really see some boxing is if you were able to go to an event, which it is an event, but I happen to be on call, so I don't want to go out there and get a call on an emergency. Something wrong with somebody's stuff, and I gotta get, I gotta stop what I'm doing and leave and rush home and all that. But man, I'm thinking, man, boxing. This guy Al Mitchell, the coach of Michaela, basically said that, if you look at women's boxing today, when they actually get in the ring and they have to see each other, they don't do a whole lot of pussyfooting around. The best are fighting the best. We are getting the big fights. They don't play around. They know that the bag is limited. So, do you get a price out or outprice themselves here and there? Yeah, but they know that if they lose, their marketability gets shot. So they actually willing to get back in after a loss. They get back in the saddle. They actually putting in and they're actually honing their skills, sharpening their craft. I mean, if you look at AB, which is the new problem, who Tony Harrison coaches, if you look at the skill, the angles, how she looks when she's actually boxing, her vision, how she can see things, her suddenness. When you look at Senicia Estrada, I call her the Hornet. When you look at the combinations, she goes body, head, body. She steps back, she pauses, she has time, and she comes back in, head, body. You know what I'm saying? And salute Just Do. What's up, man? Hey, you want to get on, brother? Let's get on, man. Get on. Come get on here. Let's see how that goes, man. Let's come get on here and let's see what's going on. But when you actually looking at the skill set and when you're looking at Tanisha Estrada and how she's able to, go on her attack and take pauses, take step backs. It's like, these are things that have to be, practiced over and over again. You have to have real world examples. You have to have muscle memory to be able to commit to it. And when you actually look, I've seen some of the best fights there are to see watching women's boxing. And all right then, Just Do. Yeah, man. We can chop it up, man. I'm here. You know what I'm saying? We need to talk about if boxing is on borrowed time, man. So I'll be on, man. I'm gonna hang on tight and just ride out, But these women are actually honing their skills. They're not afraid to get in there with each other. You got Clarissa going for the third time undisputed. They know that the bag is limited. The bag kind of just got opened up when it came down to Serrano. So they don't have all the, oh man, not enough money. What do you have to offer? They're actually trying to look the best. Again, if you go back to AB, if you go back to Serrano, if you go back to Senicia Estrada, like the physique looks good. AB calls herself an elite athlete. She takes pride when you see her at the weigh-in, eyeballs are glued to screens. When you hear her talking, people are engaged and they wondering like, man, and like my man, the King Amin of Essex said, he said, man, it's not just two pretty girls fighting. You know what I'm saying? They want to actually show that there's real venom between those two pretty girls and they're going to get inside the ring and handle it. They don't do, yes, they do some social media back and forth. And yeah, they do, they get the press conferences all riled up and the weigh-ins be lit. They do all that, but their ultimate goal is to get it on inside the ring. And when I was watching that press conference with Alicia Baumgartner and Michaela Meyer, and her coach was saying what he was saying, I said, Eureka, he's right. And that's how I fell in love with women's boxing. That's how I fell in love with women's boxing, man. And I'm like, man, I give all the praise to Eddie Hearn because I think he is the ambassador when it comes to women's boxing. And I think that he puts on the best venues. He is the one that has most of them. You know, there are some that are sprinkled out, but I think he does the best job at showcasing them. Um, but man, I was thinking about some of the things he was saying. I said, man, you right. No, they don't have the luxury of being able to like hold off for too long. Some of them, if they confident in the bag that they've been getting, and they pretty much active for what they have going on personally, because it's few of them that are actually full time, making enough money to be able to support a family. You know, really, like, because it's really just now kind of coming on for real. It's really kind of just now getting lit. You know, where, you know, headline cards are really just being lit and people are really excited. The knockouts are being delivered. They're asking if they should actually extend the rounds. I don't really know if they should extend the rounds. I kind of agree with Tim Bradley and what he said. He said smaller gloves, more knockouts. But some of them are like, hold on, whether they extend the rounds, whether they shrink the gloves, I'm about to get this work. I'm about to hit this bag, and I'm gonna get the knockout. You know, and you're starting to see more and more combination. You're starting to see better and better footwork. You're starting to see, you know, just who has that real dog in them, who can make adjustments. You're starting to really, really see who can make adjustments. And I was thinking about Michaela Meyer and the blue collar worker that Al Mitchell was saying that she is, and I said, man, this is gonna be a really good fight. I said, man, and then I was watching the Canelo Triple G3, the trilogy, and one of them commentators said that AB and Michaela they actually were poised to steal the show. And I was like, yeah, they might be they might be about to steal the show. Because I don't think any of them playing. And when I heard the back and forth with them on the press conference, you know, in the little build up before the September date, I think it was September 10th, before that date got pushed back, they said, yeah, we go back and forth. Like, yeah, you know, it's you know, people can see the animosity, and we do the press, and we do, you know, we try to look the image and this and this and this. She said, but don't be fooled, because we both know that it all boils down to what we do inside that square circle. And I couldn't help but blush. Because at the end of the day, man, we can talk about who's hoisting what flag. We can talk about, you know, whose father is doing what color your tennis shoes are, who had the best trunks, who had the nicest glove ensemble, whose ring walk was the littiest. We could talk about all those things. What celebrity was out there? It all boils down to what happens inside that square circle at the end of the day. And I think women's boxing, they actually have figured it out that, hey, we got to get it on. And I think this is word to anybody that might be watching or listening or being like, dang, man, ain't no boxing on, or thinking about, man, let me go do some old film study, or let me go rescore this fight. Like, I want to rescore that Andre Ward Kovalev fight because I have some strong opinions about that fight. I would love to do a public rescoring of that fight once I build up and have the audience that's going to actually sit and want to go ahead and score that fight along with some others. But if you find yourself having any of those thoughts today, you got to ask yourself, why? Because boxing is on borrowed time. I'm sad to say it, but I heard a term used by Antonio Tarver on Pro Box Talk. Them guys have some very good conversation when it comes to the boxers. They hit it with angles that you wouldn't think of. You know, they might have a little bit more connect, so they might be able to stand a little bit firmly on some of the things that they say. But Antonio Tarver, he made a point on the show the other day when him, Roy Jones, and Paulie, I think it was Paulie Malignaggi. I'm not sure who the other guy was. But basically, they always come forward and they always address these fights. And they were talking about the Eubanks and Ben, and more recently, I forgot who they were talking about. Forgot what fight they were talking about, but they were basically saying that I forgot what fight that was. Man, it's gonna burn me up if I don't remember what that is. But um, basically looking at the fights, um, they see angles that we don't see. They talk about angles that we don't see, and Antonio Tarver had mentioned the Jake Paul fight, right? And he was saying that he called it a novelty. He called it novelty boxing. And I was like, wow. So that's actually a title that you can hold up and you can say, oh, novelty boxing. That's a real thing now. You got that's when a YouTuber decide they want to get in there with another YouTuber, or one of these rappers decide they want to get in there with another rapper. And we're starting to see more and more of that. We're starting to hear that Ryan Garcia is actually people look at him like a novelty boxer now. That's kind of wild. Think about it. He turned professional. He gained a big a good Instagram follower, however, Facebook, whatever. He gained a big following, and he fights so rare or seldom that people are considering this man a novelty boxer, and people are actually using Jake Paul and the success he's been able to have at picking these, dare I say, non-boxers, because the reality of the matter is he hasn't fought a real boxer yet. But we praise him as being the face of boxing now because of numbers. I don't know how when you haven't fought a real boxer yet, and everybody have their beliefs about why the Hasim Rahman Jr. fight fell through. But I believe that this man never really intended on facing a real boxer. I mean, that's the biggest way to get exploited, is to actually fight somebody. It's like, I'm going to have a carpentry contest with a non-carpenter in a carpentry contest. It's like, no, I would measure myself up against a carpenter that's within the range of the skill set that I believe I can challenge him in. I would not go and ask an electrician to come have a carpentry battle. I would actually want to battle the electrician in that field. But these novelty boxers are garnering more praise. I mean, they're even attributing Jake Paul and his success and saluting him because of the contract that he was able to give to Serrano. Now, that's a good thing, because that's a good thing for women's boxing. But to break those two things down, those are two different separate things that need to be addressed. It's great that he pushed the needle, because they actually need to get paid more. They actually get hit in the head and the face, you know what I'm saying, in their body parts, just as much as any two men that actually put on the gloves. So they actually need the compensation do kind of need to, show that they actually do get hit in the head, for a living. And they should be able to take care of their medical expenses and not, have any problems, and actually live a lifestyle equivalent to the value or entertainment that they actually bring. So on one hand, yes, Jake Paul did do a good job in, getting that contract out there and getting her $1 million deal, and then saying, oh, okay, kind of like setting the standard or precedence to kind of get, the pay scale higher. Yes, but he has not fought a real boxer yet, and he's garnering more attention. He knocked out a basketball player, and he knocked out a football player. I don't know if he would want to see somebody like Le'Veon. I mean, not Le'Veon. He knocked out. Yeah, now I don't think he would want to. I don't know if he would want to see that again. I don't know if he would want to see that, but he knocked out a football player, an MMA guy, and I'm waiting on a real boxer. So we'll see, man. But the fact that novelty boxing is growing, the fact that we don't have any boxing on today, and the fact that whenever you mention any of these names right now, it turns into a very, very toxic situation. If you mention Errol Spence and Bud Crawford, it's toxic. Some people that's just now done or saying, man, I'm done, and people are getting vocal about being frustrated about this fight not happening and ready to give up on the fight, on the fact that the fight will happen. If you mention Devin and whoever, it gets real toxic. If you mention Bud and Jermell, it gets real toxic. If you mention Shakur and Devin, it gets real toxic. I mean, some of us after seeing Andy Ruiz do what he did to King Kong, some of us thought that the direction was to be for Wilder after he got past Hellenius, is for Wilder to actually fight Andy Ruiz on his way back to the top. But it's like, man, everything is a scapegoat because he lost to Tyson Fury. So he could just fight this guy Hellenius, get himself back up in the rankings, and then go. I don't know what happened, man. I hope he addressed the Andy Ruiz situation, because I'm like, man, like, that's not a maneuver if you maneuver past Andy Ruiz? Because I mean, did they shake on it? I'm like, I thought they shook. I thought they had a little, not anything binding or anything, but just a man-to-man agreement. I thought that Wilder was actually going to have to see Andy Ruiz. But we're hearing that it's all about the bag, which is another reason why boxing is on borrowed time. When the best don't fight the best, and all of the boxing fans are at the mercy of the promoters actually making two fighters fight or getting two fighters to agree to fight, when we're at the mercy of that, and fighters don't want to fight because they're not getting paid enough money, which I totally understand. But it's starting to become a time when boxers are really just finding a lot of reasons why they don't want to fight each other. Some of it's justifiable. I mean, you can't really tell somebody what they're worth. You can't really tell somebody when they should be ready, or that they aren't ready, or that they should fight this person or that person, because you're not the one in there taking the punches. But as a fan who critique, who uplift, who contribute, who analyze, who look to nurture the sport, who try to uphold and preserve the sport, you kind of have a right to voice your opinion about what you want to see and what you really don't. And the direction that boxing is going in now is who can make the most money. I'm literally hearing people that's very, 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 very excited about Ryan Garcia coming back. And I'm not even talking about just for Tank. I'm just saying they're excited about Ryan like fighting because he has a following. Because if you can't really mention Ryan Garcia, I try to talk to him without talking about the following. I try to talk about the fact that he has a very good stifling jab if he uses it. He has a devastating hook. He has a check hook that he knows how to use. It's a left hook, but this combination of the use of the jab, and then when you try to get around that, how quick he is and how he pivots off on that check, I think it's a check right hook. It's a dangerous skill set to have, but we don't get to see it, and the level of competition doesn't show that it will be effective in the long haul. We don't know. We know that Goosen may have made him look like it was a step up, but was that Goosen making him look like it was more of a step up, or was that Fortuna not being the guy that we know Fortuna to be. So I still have question marks on Ryan. I think that a lot of the biggest thing that kind of rubbed me wrong about Ryan was when he said God said. When he said that God told him, like everything after that was just like Charlie Brown to me, because I'm like, you can't be going around saying God said, but God said he was going to knock Tank out in the second round or something like that. And he got on Mike Tyson and said it. Then he pulled out with mental health. And that's when I was kind of like, man, I mean, I already knew that the guy wasn't ready because he wasn't really getting in the fights to actually develop him. He got the Luke Campbell and he learned something from that, but he needed a Pedraza. He needed a JoJo Diaz. He needed, some of these ancillary guys that weren't big name, but he wants to keep tying his name, to those guys. He got to go. He finally had got to go, but he keep tying his name to these guys that, skill set wise, he has a skill set that can rival him. But as far as the experience goes, not sure if he was really ready. But since you keep attaching yourself to those names, people are clamoring to see it. But the biggest thing people mention when you mention Ryan Garcia is his number of followers. And to me, it's not really that credible. I mean, I'm looking at him for the skill set. I look at him that he's tall. His bones should be getting denser. He should be settling down in weight. He wanted to go to 140. Well, he need to go to 140, plant his feet in the ground, and get hot. He need to start slapping whoever they got over there on the zone, like Golden Boy, slap him to sleep. I mean, I don't ever hear him say Montana Love. He fight on the zone. I mean, Richardson Hitchens just got over there. He's with Matchroom. Yeah, he's with Matchroom now. But Richardson Hitchens went to 140 here recently. But the fact that we don't actually be able to get to see any boxing tonight unless we were actually being able to go actually see a boxing fight in the ring somewhere or go see the amateurs. The fact that we don't have any boxing today says that boxing might be on borrowed time. It's the first of the month. Everybody got paid. People know how money works, but there's no boxing today. No boxing today. Let's see. We got Andre. We got the subject of Andre. And man, the jury was out on Andre and what Andre was really what he was really up to. And on the show we did earlier this week, the subject of Andre came up, and I was like, man, when I think about Andre, I just look at, okay, when the last time I keep asking myself, when the last time I seen him fight? And I'm like, dang. I'm like, was that Quigley? Okay, so we got Quigley, and then a lot of people really didn't even know Quigley anyway. Like to be honest, people didn't really know Quigley. But I think about, okay, well, dang, I can't barely remember when he last fought. Then I think about it, and it was Quigley. Then I look at the moves, as far as the moves that were made, and I say, well, dang, this man didn't fight Janabek. He went up to fight Zach Parker, pulled out for a shoulder, came back. It was mandated. Janabek came up on the table again. Like, nope, dropped the belts, went back to go fight Zach Parker again, and pulled out because supposedly it was a money thing with a contract. The value in the contract wasn't there. And I'm like, man, how do you judge that? You judge that by saying, okay, what do you have to consider when you're judging that? My only solace was knowing that Canelo Alvarez said he was boring, and he basically said he wasn't ready to fight. So he, in the eyes of many people, qualified himself not to be able to fight Andre because of those purposes. Do other boxers that he actually fought fall in those same kind of categories or worse? Absolutely. Absolutely. When it was on record that David Benavidez had actually, wanted a substantial amount of money to fight this guy, I said, yo, wow. I said, man, that sounds like somebody either A, that don't know about business, or B, is setting a price so high that they're just going to be like, every time, because it's like, man, he's beyond reason. I don't know if that was the negotiating tactic where you aim real high for them to come back, you know what I'm saying, kind of low, and y'all kind of work your way to the middle. I don't know if that was the tactic, but we heard that it was an absorbent amount of money. And now we're also hearing that his trainer don't speak for him. It was what he's saying, But I'm like, well, how does that work? Do we listen to trainers sometimes or all the time? Because if Samson don't speak for Benavidez, and that's his promoter, manager, or whatever, if he don't speak for him, then when certain, like, let's say Bill, when Bill speak for Devin, like, everything he say is the gospel then, right? But then when it comes to somebody like Samson, oh no, he don't really speak for David, and that wasn't really the price. I bet you he would have been speaking for David if they would have said all right, and they would have gave him that number that he asked for. I bet you all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, man, Samson, oh what's up? How convenient. How convenient. That, my friends, is if pricing yourself out was a person. But I'm hearing that those talks have rekindled. And allegedly, supportedly, reportedly, according to these, I guess, places where people get their information, we want to call, it's supposed to be an offer being made or sent or something like that. I try to wait because these places where people are getting this information for, man, are like flippity flops. Never really know what we're going to get. So you have the Android. And I said, early in the show, I said, look, we're going to give Android a mulligan because the face of boxing ducked him, and the wannabe face of boxing wants a lot of money to actually fight him. We're going to let it go as far as the pullout game, as far as a long time ago as with in regard to Charlo, because it's been a long time. I think the suits might have took it out on him for a while, saying, hey, we're not going to touch this guy with a 10-foot pole because he pulled out and we got the bag, but if we can't jeopardize the bag. So I think he kind of went through some things and it was kind of hard. Might have been a little bit more challenging after that. They might have looked at him like, hey, man, you got to show you improve yourself. You got to do this. Him signing with Eddie, him dropping the belt, doing all that. We just going to set that. We're going to parking lot that. And depending on what his next move is or what his next two moves are, will depend upon whether or not he'll make the Age Well games. And my Age Well games are very highly noted about boxers who actually make moves and do things that in real time. I often get a lot of backlash when I say it in real time. I'm always called a hater, or I got animosity against certain boxers, but I'm calling it how I see it in real time. And then later on, so it comes to pass. A lot of people are flip-flopping on Canelo now. I found it really outrageous that in these last 2 weeks, a lot of Canelo Alvarez fans put on some Armani flip-flops. They were Armani. This was high-level flip-flopping. This was designer flip-flopping that they actually did. All of a sudden, he's overrated. This is the first week I heard Teddy Atlas say, when he did his review, that Canelo Alvarez was overrated. And I rock with Teddy. I rock with Teddy, but it was the first time he said Canelo Alvarez was overrated. I was like, Eureka. But in real time, every time when I was saying, oh man, this is a maneuver, that's a maneuver, I was hating like a mug, man. I was just keeping it real, man. That's why I say, man, a lot of people don't like the terminology. I seen somebody watch, they had to watch the whole show, the whole live the other day. I seen somebody watch the whole live the other day. They watched the whole live the other day, got up in the morning and did the very same show with all the talking points. and then said something like, I don't like trolls, I don't take voice clips, and I don't do this and this and that. And I'm like, yes, you do. You're more classy about what you do and how you do it, but that's what you're doing. So we could play this game. It was a knock on me, even though I donate to that channel all the time. I support. If you're telling the truth, I'm gonna support. It's not trolling. I call it trolling because you're actually being perceived as a troll these days when you tell the truth. So I say, hey, you can come on and troll. Like I could be talking about something, you could totally not agree. You can jump in and give your piece. And most of the time, we have a lot of moderators and all that in there. People are like, oh man, why you always hating? No, I wouldn't say that. I'll just say, hey man, that's not quite true, and we can hash it out. But trolls now are people who tell the truth. That's why I said feed the trolls. Feed the trolls. Because a lot of people don't like to credit and attributed sources where they get information or where they get these talking points or these, these viewpoints. They don't really attribute where they come from. They just use them. And it's real funny, man, because when you collaborating and you're doing different things, man, it's all kind of different energies going on where, a lot of people they are up in arms and, they trying to keep, because everybody is a crab eat crab or a dog eat dog today, and rightfully so. People do have to have their guards up, but there are people watching, there are people listening, and there are people willing to put in the work, and there are people that's willing to tell the truth, man. It's a lot of people, man, out here that I'm starting to see, and I guess as I stop watching certain channels, and I start like getting away from watching certain channels and carrying my energy towards, the channel that I appreciate, that actually give out good information, have level head, can actually talk about the X's and O's, of boxing. They actually talk about the jab, who has the better footwork, whose defenses are better, what happened in this fight, what did they learn about this fighter in this, what adjustment did they see. Once we actually get inside the X's and O's, as I start seeing and start, looking at those kind of channels, I'm starting to see more and more people making that kind of content, and more people actually speaking out saying, hey man, the way I see it, and a lot of them are telling the truth. They just don't have the kind of audience that, where the people really need to. And then I also understand that a lot of people like to be disrespected. A lot of people like to go somewhere where you can be talked to a certain kind of way, utterly disrespected, and they like it. You know why? Because they like the personality. So these people could be lying. These people could be selling you, a bill of goods, for a messed up product, and people go back and buy it every day. It's just a sad reality, because they like the personality, So I say all that because it's real crazy, man, that lately, like when you talk about what's about to go down on, on that weekend, on that eventful weekend in October, what's about to go down is Devin Haney is going to fight George Kambosos. Deontay Wilder is going to fight Robert Helenius. And Clarissa Shields is actually getting ready to fight and do the dance. But we're not seeing any videos about them. We're not seeing any videos about Kambosos and the training, and we're not seeing anything coming out about it, and we're not seeing it. We're not seeing any videos about Helenius and how hard he's training and what he got going on and what, how he's preparing for Deontay. We're not seeing anything. His fans aren't saying, oh man, well, we got to be concerned. Why? Because they're not concerned. They're not concerned. Savannah Marshall, I mean, people are talking about her, but not really. I am seeing a bunch of one-on-one videos with Deontay Wilder talking about the business of boxing and how much money he has and how well off he is, and I am seeing a bunch of that. We know you good money-wise, champ. We just want to know what happened with Andy Ruiz. What happened with Andy Ruiz, man? Like, are we gonna even get an explanation as to what happened with Andy Ruiz? What happened with Andy Ruiz? We're not hearing any information about George Kambosos. I actually seen him training. You know, I seen some videos. I've been checking in on him. I'm wanting to see if he hungry. I've been wanting to see, is he saying what he's saying? How's his mindset? You know, because I mean, his fans, hey, Devin fans, we don't hear about the opponents, man. We only hear about the opponents that aren't, you know, up next. You know, it's like the lead up to Linares, how all we heard about was Loma, and like the lead up to JoJo Diaz, all we heard of was Tank. And then the lead up to George Kambosos, all we heard about was Tank. And now the lead up to George Kambosos, all we heard is Tank. And now we hearing about Shakur and we hearing about Keyshawn, but we never hear about George Kambosos. Man. Anyways, man, let me take a break, man, as I try to preview my new intro to the women's to my women's boxing section, man. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna preview that. Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts.
I had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. Hey. I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady did everything I asked her, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in old days in Philly, we call these guys crazy. And that's the way these women are. So when you go back home, speak nice to your
Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts.
I had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. Hey. I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady done did everything I asked her, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in old days in Philly, we call these guys crazy. And that's the way these women are. So when you go back home, speak nice to your
Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts.
I had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. Hey. I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady done did everything I asked her, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in old days in Philly, we call these guys crazy. And that's the way these women are. So when you go back home, speak nice to your
Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts.
I had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. Hey. I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady done did everything I asked her, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in old days in Philly, we call these guys crazy. And that's the way these women are. So when you go back home, speak nice to your
Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts.
I had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. Hey. I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady done did everything I asked her, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in old days in Philly, we call these guys crazy. And that's the way these women are. So when you go back home, speak nice to your
Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts.
I had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. Hey. I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady done did everything I asked her, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in old days in Philly, we call these guys crazy. And that's the way these women are. So when you go back home, speak nice to your
Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts.
11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. Hey, I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady done did everything I asked her, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in old days in Philly, we call these guys crazy. And that's the way these women are. So when you go back home, speak nice to your ladies.
Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts.
I had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. Hey, I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady done did everything I asked her, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in old days in Philly, we call these guys.
So yeah, I just wanted to air the women's boxing. Wanted to air the women's boxing portion of it and get that out there. You know, I work the background. I'm still learning, man. I'm a perfectionist, but I take all my lumps. You know what I'm saying, with pride. You know what I'm saying, because it's the growing pains, and I look back and I see the progression and the growth. You know what I'm saying, behind the scenes. You know, I appreciate the little tidbits, but with no further ado, this is my man Just Do. What's going on, homie?
What's good with it, bro?
What's up, man? I just figured, man, ain't nothing going on with boxing, man. I was like, man, is boxing, you know, is boxing on borrowed time? You know, what you got on it, man? The floor is yours. You can plug your channel. You could do whatever, man.
Oh yeah, too. When you want to because when you want people to plug their links, you make them a moderator. Like what you do is, you got your phone in front of you. You just go to your own stream, like you watching it, like you'll be watching anybody else's, and you'll click on my name in the chat, the screen will pop right up. You'll just hit add moderator, boom. Okay. So whenever I drop my link, people will actually be able to click it. Because what happens is if they're not moderated and they drop their link, they could drop it, but can't nobody click it. It won't be clickable. You see what I'm saying? But if you're a moderator.
All right, I got you.
Hey man, I'm rocking with you. Like, look, man, I think I don't see you pop through. I know how that shit go. I just try to send the same support that people give me, man. And look, I ain't been doing this shit super long. I only got 9 months in. Word up, doing this. Like I know the boxing, but the channel only been up for 9 months. So I know, like, hey, shit, you want a good laugh? Go to my first live ever and see how uncomfortable I was. You want a good laugh? You will get a good laugh out of that shit.
Yeah, I feel you, man. Hey, I used to do public speaking and motivational speaking and all that, so that they don't be the pressure. I be looking at how it look afterwards. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah,
So
yeah.
you
Nah,
know
cause
when you want
you
the people that
fine,
let
bro.
you
You
talk.
good. Like I can listen
Yeah,
to you kick your shit. That's why I see you on. I come over here and kick it right with you. I know how that shit get. You gonna
that you
build
do.
with shit. Yeah. Whenever I got time, you know I'm coming through. Like that's how I rock with you. So I see what
That's,
you're doing. I like the content. Your edits be dope.
that's what's up. I appreciate it, man. I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate it. I'm learning. But
Who?
boxing wise, man,
Mhm.
boxing wise, and Antonio Tarver had called it novelty boxing. He said novelty, and I was like, man, that was the first time I heard it worded that way. So I was kind of like, and he's talking about the Jake Pauls and all that, and you see the rise of that, like the
Mhm.
conversations. You can go to a lot of channels and that be the conversation. I'm like, man, like, is that a sign for boxing, or how you feel about that?
Yeah, we was chopping it up a little bit to a degree about that before, and I'm of the mentality that if our fighters was fighting each other, like meaning the people that's supposed to fight we know who's supposed to fight each other. You know what I mean? We watch this shit for real. We know who's supposed to fight each other.
Mm-hmm.
If more of that was taking place and less politics, like bad business and ducking, because what they call just business is bad business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think the fact that you got so many fighters kind of like posturing and using whatever status or position they have to kind of, what I mean, it's like a pissing contest in boxing. And why y'all putting on pissing contests, you know what I mean, talking about who got belts and who got money, shit, weird shit like that, instead of saying, you know what I mean, y'all want to fight, then it leaves a big gap for this sideshow that is Jake Paul. And I salute him if his intent is to I'm not mad at him getting his bag, but if his true intentions is to make sure that fighters that's participate on his cards get paid more, I'm all for that. He actually do have a place in boxing, but I think the problem that he always gonna run into is you haven't fought a real boxer yet, bro. And the time that you were supposed to, it fell out. So a lot of people look at Rockman is right. Nah, don't try that, man. We talking
That's
about
what I
a
was
couple
saying. I was
pounds.
saying, man, how come and how come you think now this is what I find odd, right? How come you think Rockman as a boxer, as the son of a legend who he might not be where he should be or could be with his father being who he was, but with him being a credible, legit boxer, why do you think people sided with the Jake Paul side? Like, why you think he got the bum rap when why you think it all fell on him though? Like,
I think in boxing, man, like it's not we was talking about this too, because I talk about it on my channel. It's not enough self-accountability. It's too many people pointing the fingers, and in doing so, you don't really get to the root of the problem, because if everybody's blaming everybody, then I mean nobody taking accountability for why shit is the way it is. And you say, why did Jake get a bum rap?
No, I'm saying Rockman. Everybody was saying, "Oh man,
Oh,
Rockman,
Rockman,
he
yeah,
was ducking."
because
I'm saying, as a legit boxer, why is the boxer getting the
yeah,
the
because
yeah? What?
they not being realistic, bro. Like they not being realistic. They know what that dude was asking was a bit wild, and he knew what it was. And he told them he wasn't going to make that weight. And I think for him not to fight over some pounds or whatever happened to, remember, people get penalized for being over. Whatever happened to that? It's like you just scrapped the whole card, and that told me something. That to me, that showed his intent. He really didn't want to fight Rockman. And then when you seen the sparring that came out, you see why that he didn't want to fight Rockman. So he can miss me with that. I mean, he gonna run his bag up as long as he can. But I say this, it's like I can tolerate it if you are being a reason that fighters are being paid more. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that part of it is dope. But again, when you talking to a diehard, we looking at him like a sideshow, because although you successful, you might be bringing some money to the sport, maybe a different set of eyes, but you gotta fight a boxer, bro. This UFC run that you on, fighting these 48 and 40 plus year olds, it's not gonna cut it. No, just notice when it was time for Tommy Fury, that situation fell out. When it's time for Rockman, that situation fell out. Just I see patterns after a while. To me, it ain't a coincidence, it's math. So it's like I see a pattern, and You just don't you running your bag up right now. Meanwhile, you pretending to be a real fighter. You talking shit to some of the biggest fighters in the world, Canelo's and wild shit like that. Canelo truly hurt that boy bad.
Yeah, man.
Too.
Yeah, I guess, you know, the fact that he can get the money shows that okay, it's some market for it, but it's a la carte. I don't want it to overshadow the sport. I don't want people to get the wrong message seeing him thinking that they can, like
That's real boxing.
play boxing. You know what I'm saying? The other thing is this. When he starts paying these other ones, yes, they do demand it, but that's strategic too, because that's a selling point, that's a talking point, that's to get the audience and the fan base of them, and you know, so it works. It's like one hand washing the other in a sense. So that's strategic as well. So I mean, I just wanted to comment on that because I heard that from Antonio Tarver. But my thing is this: I think that women's boxing, because for a while I was like, man, it was the brutality of it. Like, I really don't want to see, you know, it's that element of it, because you don't really want to see women do that. But then when you say, okay, well, shoot, they earn the right to actually box, and you know, they showing that, hey, they got the skills. And I've seen a lot of good boxing, especially the ones that been boxing like for a minute and have, you know, I see some of the best matches. And with women's boxing, they can't pussyfoot around. They got to go get it on, because one, the bag is limited. For two, you got to look like something. You got to be able to fight and all that in order for you to actually get eyeballs and actually, you know, make a living in the sport. So they don't play a lot of games. They do a lot of talking and all that, but they know they trying to get into the ring, and it's not taking them a long time to do that. You got your rare cases where somebody might hold out, or, you know, I might say that, okay, it might be a pattern where it look like somebody might be avoiding, but they're actually getting it on, and they're actually like that guy Al Mitchell was saying, they actually kind of making the men's side look kind of bad. What you think about women's boxing and where women's boxing is?
I think women's boxing is in a good spot. I mean, because if you want to like an assessment of how women's boxing is doing, just look at the top. You know what I mean? Just go straight to the top, and it's a lot of females right now that's putting themselves in prime positions. It's, you know, undisputed fights taking place. It's a lot of belts being snatched up, and because of the, you know, the lack of depth in women's boxing in terms of the talent, they have, you know what I mean, they have less a breathing room when it comes to ducking and avoiding. And I think the difference between them and the men is because they lack a depth in terms of talent, they turn down less smoke. So when they get an opportunity, they take advantage of it. And I think that's why we've been able to see some of these fights we seeing, and you know, the same shit gonna be followed up October 15th. You got that all women's card, even though I think they kind of I think they intentionally put the women's card on the 15th so to have them pit them up against the men. And if you think about it, you got Wilder, and then you got Haney Kambosos. And one of my bros was pointing something out. He was pointing out that the fact that they might they did that strategically for a reason, so they could try to make it seem like maybe Clarissa, you know, she's headlining the card. They're gonna try to make it seem like she don't sell. They try to make it seem like Wilder don't sell and Haney don't sell, because they put their asses all in the same day. So my point is, even despite whatever the card doing type in terms of actual numbers, when a fight get here on the 15th, I don't know if that's a full representation of women's boxing as a whole. I think them having their own day would have showed a lot, and I truly wish that things would have went forward on the day that they had it planned, because they would have had an opportunity to have a whole day instead of be pit up against the men. You know, they already do enough competing with the men as it is. You know what I mean? They already fighting for money, and you know what I mean. You got certain fighters advocating for 12. You know what I mean? 12-round fights and 3-minute rounds. So it's like they got so much competing that they're doing naturally within the sport. I think putting them on the same day kind of put them in a situation where you forcing the fans to pick which fighter you going to watch. You can't be in 3 places at once. So you got to think that's going to have some type of effect on the bottom line. But I think that could be, you know, that's one of those old media type tactics, man. So when they go out there and push that false narrative that, you know, this or that one don't sell, that they can have a little leg to stand on, and you know they go off those recent numbers instead of what's been taking place. Like women been putting on for a while this year for the 2022. Man, women been showing out, man. Women been showing out.
So okay, so let me ask you this. All right. So from a perspective and as far as the headline implications and how they're going to put women's boxing on in the future, that's one thing, right? That's the numbers. That's for that argument. But I want to talk about them 3 matches that you said. I want to get into that, but I want to ask in that specific fight there with Shields and Savannah, right? Why you think that? How come you think that just like Kambosos and Hellenius, like why do you think we're not really getting much, like hearing much from their fans about them? No, like why are we not hearing about why are the fights kind of like not being really built up like that? And what should we expect when we see them?
You saying like as far as the lack of promotion you feel like on the women's side for that card?
Like, yeah, like for the Shields, because like with all 3, I'm seeing some patterns. We don't see much about Kambosos. We don't see much about Hellenius, and we don't see much about Marshall. And it's like, man, well, what's going on? When we hear from from the ones that we assume is going to win, I guess most of us assume we hear from that side, but for them to be their competition, how come we're not hearing about them?
I mean, shit, it could be the fact that they just a dance partner and all this. They could just be pawns and all this. If you think about it, maybe they ain't pushing it because they know these dudes is coming in there to be the B side in these situations. Because in every fight, the motherfuckers coming in there is the ones we not hearing from is the B sides, and I think some of it, like with Kambosos, I think that ass whooping humbled him a lot. So I think you getting a more humble Cam now. Like this is the guy you could tolerate a little bit more. So you ain't hearing from him because I think it's a lack of confidence on his behalf. And then the last thing you did hear about him was, remember, Albert Bell was over there helping him train. Now Albert Bell left from training with him to training with Haney. So he unfollowed Albert Bell. He mad at Albert Bell helping Haney now instead of him. So I think his confidence is shaky at best. I think same could be said for Savannah Marshall. And you never know what they trying to pull. She is going into enemy territory. But same thing, like Hellenius, these dudes is just the B-sides. I guess it ain't, people don't really care what they got to say. and they they ain't making themselves visible. So again, like the only thing you've seen from Kambosos is a very little. You've seen a much more humble guy, I tell you that. He ain't talking like this all this emperor shit he was talking before the fight. It's like I think he humbled. I think Hellenius know what's in store for him. And Savannah Marshall, she could pretend to be as cocky as she want to be. We know what it is. And when it face-to-face confrontation, she is not comfortable. When Clarissa Shields' energy is in front of her, it's funny to watch because she ain't comfortable at all. So I just think people, I don't know, they ain't giving us nothing to go off really from none of their sides. We hearing from the ones that's pretty much expected to win. You know what I mean? But I don't know, because I think it's a confidence thing too. Look what you hearing from the fighters that you are hearing from, and then think about how we don't hear nothing from the other ones.
Yeah.
They know what it is.
Yeah. You're right about that. What, like out of all 3 of them fights, which fight do you think we more likely to get a knockout? Which one's gonna be the best chess match? So we got the knockout, the one of them ain't gonna go the distance, and one of them we gonna get like an utter shutout. Which one?
I think Hellenius could be competitive. I think he will be competitive because he always come to fight. He is riding like a 3-fight win streak or something like that. I think he might have got all knockouts. So he riding a little high right now in terms of a little win streak. But I think when we talking about a knockout, that's definitely the fight to me right off the top, that scream knockout, because we all know even at the very least Wilder still got that whip for a right hand. So I think that out of the 3 fights, that's the one that we most likely to get a knockout in. I think Haney could beat Kambosos a lot more clearly, even more clearly than he did the first time, just by using more of an offensive arsenal, going in his tool bag a little bit more. You know what I mean? Not so much because he got to, because you want to show just what kind of level you on as opposed to Kambosos. So
Now,
I think that's gonna be a one-sided, like, masterclass performance. He ain't knocking him out though.
now, do you expect more in this fight out of Haney, or do you think he just need to do what he need to do to secure the victory? Like, do you expect more, or
Yeah, and it's like now again, the standard that some of his fans hold him to and how good they think this dude is. I don't think like it's I don't think we being unreasonable as viewers that say we want to see a bit more, because you know what I'm saying? The critique from the last fight was all he did was jab and do the jab right hand type shit. And it's like you want to kind of put that to bed. You want to really show a clear separation and skill level. Not, you know what I mean? Not just by outpointing him, but being able to beat his ass. I think if he able to do that, man, he able to, you know what I mean? Get a bit more respect. Like coming there, like, all right, we understood the first time it was business. You was coming in there to get them belts. Now this time you got to come in there to hurt him. And I want to see intent on these punches. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see him being safe. I want to see him like going for it. And that's what killed me real quick. Cause I was at the fights Friday night for Shakur. And that's one thing he did do. When I told people that, I said, yo, when you get about 4 or 5 rounds in, I'm telling y'all, I'm not guessing, not speculating. I'm like, he's gonna press this dude. And that's exactly what he did. But you ain't see Haney do that. So it's like Shakur got critiqued for playing it safe. I'm like, man, so whoever, the guy that said that, he must ain't watched the fight clear enough because he didn't play it safe. But Haney kind of played it. I don't even want to call it safe. I want to say he played it smart. And ain't nothing wrong with that because he got a clear-cut victory. Like I think you establishing the jab every round was kind of creating a separation in the rounds that he needed to make it definitive. So I understood his approach, or at least I feel like I understood the approach in the first fight. But this one, I say just to, to be able to even drop him, knock him down, hurt him. Like if you really could just beat this boy up, I think you get a slightly bit more respect from your peers, because I know a lot of people already expecting him to just go in there and outbox him again, 12 rounds, zip him, and that's it. But I think Haney could put a bit more on him if he really want to.
Yeah, I'm thinking, man, you might get a more desperate Kambosos. I mean, if it really, because it looked like a point in time where A was like, man, I can't do nothing. I ain't know he was gonna come like this. I ain't really know that jab was gonna be that stiff. So I ain't gonna get knocked out on this one, but like with it win, or it's pretty much all the chips is on the table. He kind of playing with the house's money because everybody he would be an upset. Like if you put money down on this and Kambosos came out and win, you're gonna win some bread. Let's be honest. So I think we're gonna get a more desperate Kambosos, which if he's back in the place where he was when he was the underdog. I think that's his role. I think that's where he's most comfortable in. It's almost like the Sean Porter thing. When he's the underdog and nobody's expecting, and you kind of fight. Some fighters fight to the level of their competition. And I believe that Kambosos didn't really think Devin was going to come as pure and as clean as he was. It was opportunities. Now he got in. I'm not going to say it was a flawless, but I think at some point in time, like I think Teddy, he always talk about them silent agreements. I think he kind of made a silent agreement really not to engage because he utterly got him. He was just getting hit in the nose. It was like a Joe Joyce
broke his confidence. Yeah, he broke his confidence, and again, now that's why I'm saying like, and this fight is important. I'm glad we even have chopping it up. This fight is important for a number of reasons, because you beat him now. We get that. We know you can beat him, but it's now this fight is going to be how you beat him. That's going to matter. Like if you go 12 zip him again, or you know what I mean, make it the same kind of fight and it look a lot like the last one, I don't think it does nothing for you. I mean, it gives you a title defense, give you some more, a little bit bragging rights, but you trying to send a message at this point, and that's what I'm saying. Like you could afford to do that now. You shown a certain level of skill in that ring, and it's definitely a considerable gap in the level of skill, and you showed it. So it's like, now, all right, we get it now. So what you gonna do now that you this much better than this dude? I expect to see a bit more offense. That's all I'm saying. Like, I want to see him really try to hurt this dude. And I ain't feel like that intent was there, with this with that first fight. You know what I'm saying? This time it looked like he's sitting down on punches. I know all fighters work on similar drills and stuff like that, but I think specifically in this camp, it's the reason why he was sitting down on them punches. Because if he go to that dude body the way he was practicing, and a lot of times I say you fight how you train. You know what I mean? You train how you fight, or you know what I mean. So what you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. But yeah, so that's it, man.
I'm thinking, man, with the standard, because I kept hearing the word boring when it came to Shakur, and I'm like, I mean, y'all couldn't have been. I don't know. I'm like, man, I don't know what fight you was really watching. You know what I'm saying? And then a lot of times, man, Shakur at least get the knockdown. You know what I'm saying? He get a separator. He get a clear defining moment. But then when you look at the combinations and how a lot of the times the opponent don't really want to engage once he get in this rhythm and he get lathered up and he decide, all right, I'm about to let out some of this aggression. It's like they don't want to engage, and he's not going to really take on much punishment. I think Seisei did a good job of kind of murkying the waters a little bit, but like with the expectations, because if that was boring, good gosh. If that was a boring fight, man, I'm like, man, are we gonna see fireworks in Australia this time?
That's what I'm saying. And
I think the bar is high, and I think a lot of the things that was going on lately here and all this, everybody on the other side getting attacked and all that. Like I believe that, man, that's gonna work against you now. Like now you all eyes on. Oh, so you say you that guy? So now you got it. Like where I want to see with all the Floyd Mayweather comparisons, whether it's money made, because people say, "Oh man, this is the pretty boy," or "This is the money made." So he money made. I want to see some flashes of the pretty boy up against some decent competition. Because I give Kambosos, he's B plus. I say he's about B. He's probably like a B level competition, like straight up. At his best, he's probably B plus. He might be able to edge an A minus depending on how the competition is or whatever. I give him a B as far as overall, because he was able to do some things, and he did surprise me against Tio. He surprised me, but I have high expectations. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to see, because my thing is this. Let's slightly fast forward. After this fight, right? Everybody's being set up for December. Everybody knows that it's supposed to be Loma, really, because that's the Bob Arum show. That's supposed to be Loma in December. So I'm like, okay, if that's supposed to be Loma, right? If Dev decide to move, so it won't be Shakur and it won't be Loma, and you on Top Rank, who do we get? Do we get a T.O., or that's gonna be or we gonna get a Barbosa, or we gonna get a Zepeda? And Zepeda, he was supposed to be engaging with Regis. I don't know why Regis' name never get mentioned, but I remember when Regis was on there with Charlo, and when Devin was on there with Charlo and Regis was brought up, it was like, oh yeah, and it was no extra sauce on it. It was no elaboration. There was no loquaciousness, going on. It was almost like, oh, okay, cool. So what are we gonna get? Like, and what's acceptable? Because I say, hey, if you busting out the seams that much and you can't make it, and we talking about a matter of what, 3 months, within 3 months, and you just can't make it, and it's just that time, then the level of competition got to be either at a Loma, which I don't really know what you're gonna find, at a Loma or a Shakur level or better. So what are we gonna see? Because I don't. We always hear, because sometimes we hear, oh no, it's we gonna see how this fight goes and we gonna stay down, but it might be a Loma now. Like what, a week and a half ago it was Loma, but before that, Church was saying, no, we moving on up like the Jeffersons, and now I'm like, okay, so if you are moving up, how come we never hear about the possibilities? The only thing I ever heard, and I keep hearing, was a Zepeda, and I'm like, no, that's not to avoid to not. Adhering to the 135 standard, for just a little bit longer, to go up to 140 for a Zepeda, I don't know. Who will we get? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Like, what do you think going to happen if if he say who are we going to get if we just allowed ourselves as fans, because we not boxing, they got to focus on that, right? Let's just say, because he's going to do the same thing he did to George Kambosos. If he's not going to stay at 35 and take on Loma and Shakur, who would we get Devin with at 140?
Who Devin at 140? Man, that's a good conversation. Devin at 140 is gonna be tough for him, man. I really believe that. So even if I was having a conversation the other day too, I had did a live about 130, 135 to 140. Man, you're not safe in neither one of them divisions. So if he go up there to 40 without trying to fight Shakur, like, I'm cool with it if his body outgrow the weight class, because I'll be transparent. I feel like that's why I was cool with Shakur. Ain't like it's cool to miss weight, but I ain't crucify him because I felt like his body really outgrew it. So if that's the case with Devin Haney, move up to 40, that's cool. But I'm gonna tell you now, at the top of 40, I think all of them some rough fights. Like, could you imagine Gary Antoine Russell and him fighting? Like, that's gonna be a rough fight for him, man. I think 140 gonna get real tough on him. Just think about these matchups: Haney versus Gary Antoine, Haney versus a Regis, Haney versus Tio will be a good fight. He at 40. Haney and Ryan, you got him at 40. It's a lot. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of smoke at 40. Matias, could you imagine, like, if he get in a fight with one of these dudes and he can't hurt him? Oh man, fuck hurting them. If you can't get their respect, them some tough fights. I think 40 is really going to be tough for him moving forward. I swear I do. I really do. I like Haney, but I think that lack of power going to come back to bite him in his ass. When we talking about the top tier 40, the mid-level guys, you might be able to beat them. And depending on the style too, I think he's going to have to be very strategic as to how he pick his fights and when he pick them at 40. And I ain't saying duck smoke and nothing like that. He's going to have to be smart, because I just don't see the power carrying up. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's been shrinking himself down, and because of it is, he ain't as strong as what he could be, but it's important for him to show more of an offensive arsenal, man. Especially that same old rinse and repeat shit. No disrespect to him. That's not gonna work, yo. That's not gonna work. That jab right hand combination. And if you go back and watch the Kambosos fight, it's like every round almost looked the same. Now, one of my biggest critiques with Haney is that all his fights be looking the same. I said this before. I just don't like to say it too often because I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying. His fights be looking the same, and he still got some developing to his game. Like, I don't know. I ain't heard too many people speak on it. I heard one of Blue Blood partners, man, before he passed away. He used to say it, and I used to like the way he used to break down what he see in Devin Haney. He just is like, yo, he don't see the development. Like, and just go back and challenge. You could go back to the last 3 fights, the last 5 fights. Just go back and watch them. I get what I'm saying. I ain't saying you're supposed to reinvent yourself, but I'm saying, yo, the rounds look eerily similar. The way you win your fights, you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It looked like predictable in a sense, and I think you won't be afforded or awarded them same luxuries at 40, man. I think those dudes just a little bit different up there, and I'm telling you that not being able to hurt nobody, that ain't cool, man. That shit gonna be problematic as he move up in weight.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm wondering, man. I'm like, because we don't hear it. It's like that's why I be trying to ask people to back off the ledge when it comes to the best things since sliced bread and all of the glowing, things. Because, man, for a fighter, man, you see what happened to Tio when he failed. Everything that he did up to that point got discredited. Some of us was acknowledging in real time and giving him his props. And some of it was just a young man actually becoming a champion and not being mature enough and having issues surrounding and swirling around him where he couldn't deal with it and he failed. The thing is, man, when the fans and you yourself and your management and the people that you rock with, when they actually put out a certain precedence or set a certain precedence for you, man, heavy is the head, man. I mean,
yes, sir.
When I look at it, man, I'm like, man, Regis. I mean, now he's not with Top Rank, but Regis, I guess he's with somebody that could, he's not viewed as not being able to make a deal. You know what I'm saying? He's somebody that could actually make a deal. He got some flexibility, I would think. But you talking about a Regis. You talking about like you said, a Sabril Matias. You talking about a Gary Antoine Russell? Because I remember I got video out. Out when Mr. Gary Russell got pickpocketed by Mark Marcel, and it was a bunch of clamor going on saying, "Oh, yeah, he got beat by a bum," and Gary Antoine was like, "Oh, really? My brother got beat by a bum. Well, let me come. When you come up here, let me oblige you. Go ahead and win your belts, because this is before the belts. Go ahead and win your belts. We wish you well. We hope you win. So for that, kudos. When you get done, come see me." The outrage and the backlash was, "Oh my goodness, now it's 140." And I mean, we talking about, I did the math. I was like, man, hold on, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 pounds.
Facts.
And I was like, wow. It was like America's top unarmed security came out. I was like, for and then it was, well, if he have a belt, or what will he have to offer? And I was like, wow, wow. So
a diva mentality.
I'm thinking, okay, well, shoot, Gary Antoine, that looked like, man, I seen a show the other day when dude was in line, man, and he was in the mess hall with his chest out, man, and he looked to his right, man. It was a little guy holding on to his pocket, man. So I'm like, man, because when you look at it, because the way it was being said, remember, it used to look like 135 and 140 was so far away, but then Tank went up there and he made that move, and then people knock a Barrios, but then you don't hear, okay, well, let me show you what I'll do to a Barrios. People don't ever. So you got the Barrios, who you can say what you want, but he been battle tested. He might have took 2 losses, but if you get in there and he might be, let's just say he's in that testing mode. He might be that measuring stick or that test. He might be that litmus test where when you step your toe up there, even though we ain't gonna get into all the cross promotion and all that. Well, let's just, because that's a whole different subject. We can get on that, but I'm just talking about names at 140, acceptable fights, and the way the perception would be. We don't ever hear about what happened with. We hear critique about, oh yeah, I seen Tank hit him with that gazelle punch. Yeah, like the same gazelle punch that Gary Antoine hit Ramses with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That same gazelle punch, but it was mockery then. And it was like, oh yeah, he knew he could do that to Bar. Don't hear nothing about the Barrios at 140. No Sabril Matias at 140. Really no. Josh Taylor hasn't moved yet, and we know he got a rematch with Catterall, but it was no Josh Taylor really no talk. You know what I'm saying? All I heard was a Zepeda. I ain't even hearing no T.O. talk, and they all on the same boat. It ain't no, it's like, it's all in-house, but I don't hear any of that. And I'm like, man, what are we gonna see? So that's one thing. I ain't gonna harp on it too long. These are just good things to have. As far as Hellenius, I don't really hear anything about it. I don't really see anything. I know Kalnaki is Kalnaki, and he did impress me. But then when I looked at Kalnaki the next fight, I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, some people got size and they filled out the application, they put in some work, and they got up to where, it was kind of like, I don't know, they got promoted right. They got in the ring, they got the necessary fights that they need to get their build somewhat of a name. They worked their way up, but I didn't really see Kalnaki as a world beater, respectfully. And I do see that Hellenius has the physical attributes. You know what I'm saying? If he'll be able to use them against somebody like Wilder, I mean, I know that they have, training, experience together and a lot of sparring, much like DeLoma and Jermaine Ortiz, how they real familiar with each other in sparring, which could be good and could be bad. I heard something about Wilder saying, well, he hasn't felt me in these size gloves. So the size of the gloves was a point that was made on camera as far as a talking point where he felt valid enough to say that, on camera. So I'm thinking, okay, he's still thinking that it's going to be about the power, and I'm like, okay, well, if he's still thinking it's about the power, then yeah, he's going to try to tap my man Chin. I'm just wondering if Hellenius has enough to be able to box enough to, maybe get off into the later rounds. Can he get how far, if you had to gauge, how far could Hellenius get? You know, now we've seen him against Kalnaki. Now, how far in the match could he? Is it going to be? You know, is he going to go past 6? Is it going to go into the the third quarter? Like, what is it? How far can he get in that fight? Let me ask you that.
Man, yeah, they got some familiarity with each other because they sparred before, but it's been a while since then. So I'm pretty sure, you know, that's ancient. I don't think that sparring is really gonna have too much of an effect on the outcome. And we know Hellenius, he's pretty tough. He a game of that. He been in the game for a while. I could see the fight definitely going some rounds while Wilder getting his legs under him, so to speak. I could see it going some rounds. But I'm telling you, it all depends on what Wilder's intent is. Like, you know what I'm saying? And when he decided to find a home for that right hand, because respectfully, he done knocked everybody down or out. And I don't see it really being too much different with you know, in this fight. Like I feel like Hellenius he got a kind of style and you know, he, like I say, a vet. So I think he's gonna take Wilder some rounds for sure, because you know, I think Wilder is going to take him a little bit to get his legs, his boxing legs up under him, I think. And but once he do, I mean, shit, I could see a knockout by 8th, 9th round, some shit like that. And it could be sooner. And I'm just saying that, assuming that he's going to have to like acclimate back to the, you know what I mean, to the ring and get his legs up under him. But I think once he do that, we're gonna see him try to get old boy out of there, because I know he ain't trying to go the distance. He ain't trying to go no 12 rounds.
So, all right, let me ask you this now, because I'm, you know, part of my thing is I do body work. You know what I'm saying? I'm going with people least expected, man. Andrew Ruiz, man. I recall, not too long ago. You know, I'm sure you was around, you know what I'm saying, doing your thing. You know, I recall Andy Ruiz getting in there with King Kong, you know, and demonstrating some things and showing some things that was saying, wow, you know what I'm saying? People were clamoring. I mean, you look at some videos, we can see some people saying, oh man, you know, Ruiz is next after, you know, and I don't know, man, the latest news, man. Like, I'm thinking, man, I thought that I heard the champ say, you know, he was going to go ahead and dance like past Hellenius. He was going to dance with, you know, Ruiz on his way back to, you know, the big ones. But I'm like, man, like, did that, like, what happened with that, and how do we arrive at Usyk all of a sudden? Like, how do we get there? Like, what's going to happen with Andy, man?
Yeah, I think it'd be some I think people be putting the cart before the horse, especially in them situations. The way they do it, it's the way they deal with it. It'd be messy. One minute it's like you see it's a clear push for them to try to get Andy Ruiz and Wilder done. They even got fight posters, so that I could go show you a fight poster of them. They even got one now, Wilder and Usyk, I believe. But I think that's a fact that people just being prisoners of the moment and using that little old school tactic to generate some buzz toward a fighter that probably necessarily don't need it. But I think that's what be going on, because you know, Wilder is box office. That just lets you know something. We went from Wilder and Ruiz to Wilder and Usyk, and why I wouldn't have a problem with that, because that'd put Wilder right back where he need to be realistically. If Usyk give him an opportunity at them belts, man, we might be talking about a unified champion right now, because I think that shit I think both of those guys get stretched by Wilder. I think Ruiz is built like Stavern, in my opinion. And I think them fast hands that everybody was talking about that you got to remember, he's going to have to work his way in there. Wilder 6'7". You know what I'm saying? He not no Tyson Fury. He a big body, but he ain't physically imposing like Tyson Fury is when we talk about Wilder. And I think it'd just be a matter of time for that right hand catch Andy, and I think he'll knock him out. And I think the right hand to find Usyk too. It just won't be easy in neither fight. So I don't want to make it seem like it's going to be easy, but you just haven't seen many fights where either Ruiz or Usyk don't get hit. And that second Joshua fight was real tough for Usyk, man. I think Wilder's a bit more fluid in terms of his punch delivery than AJ. AJ could be kind of stiff, robotic.
Yeah.
Got the muscles and shit. And Ben really at the waist is stiff dude. You know what I'm saying? I think he'd be able to really have some real success against Usyk, because Usyk had to find his way in, man. And I'm telling you, that right hand is gonna find itself gonna find a target at some point. I haven't seen a fight where Usyk don't get hit. He get touched up. He got good defense, but he get touched. And while he unfortunately for him, he ain't no big behemoth Neanderthal like Tyson Fury. So I think if Wilder knock him down, that might be a 10 count. He might stretch him. If he get up, he ain't gonna make it out the fight. Think Usyk could give him some problems with his boxing and his movement, shit like that. But think like he gonna have to stand in the fire. And when you in the fire, you get burnt. And I just ain't seen a fighter where Wilder ain't been able to touch. Look how good Fury is able to move. Look how big he is, and Wilder still was able to put him down 4 times. You get what I'm saying? So it's like,
everybody kind of look at the outcome of the fight, right? They kind of look at the outcome, but a lot of people don't really look at some of the success that AJ was actually able to have.
Yeah,
and that that was a newly implemented style by Robert Garcia, and he showed flashes to where, man, that body work and that coming back upstairs. But that killer instinct, that that suddenness, that he hurt, like that. Wilder has that. Like, if it's fighters that actually have that, and sometimes that is the separation when you talk about two boxers. Two boxers could be evenly matched in all different areas, but one has a little bit more suddenness where they can recognize and see. I think that's what was missing with AJ, but I don't let that overshadow that I saw progress in AJ, right? I saw some progress, and I saw that maybe it was still a little bit of conditioning issues, which I don't know. Maybe it was, I don't know. Maybe it was learning all those things, because a lot of that learning a new style is more mental pressure more than anything. Right? So he had to learn a new style, or let Robert cater what his strengths was to the kind of philosophy that Robert did, and then put that on a trial run against Usyk. I think that kind of gets overshadowed in that conversation. So Usyk, he doesn't look impregnable to me. He doesn't look impenetrable to me. He looks like he has flaws that can be capitalized. Yes. And for me, that's a style matchup that's not good for him when it comes to Wilder, because he has to come in inside. And if Wilder if he can keep the assimilation of any kind of jab and capitalize when he do let that right hand go, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah.
I thought that Ruiz would be a good one, because coming off of 2 losses, man, I kind of still think some other people need some opportunity to mix it up with some of the other things. And I thought that, man, what Andy was able to do, avenging himself against AJ, then going through the what was that guy name? Areola. Going through Areola, which he learned something in that, got caught coming in, and then got caught coming in a couple times against Ortiz. We got to see him against, that was like, to me, looking at a fighter that's actually building and trying to implement and trying to show some growth. I was like, dang, I would want to see him in that matchup. Now, we know if Wilder land that right hand the way he do on most people, is good night, but then that's the ultimate speed versus power. So that's a match that I wanted to see. Ultimately, we might not get to see that, but in all of this, what I see is that once again, AJ is like left in the dust, and it's made a mockery of, and it's made to like, well, that's never going to happen. And I'm like, well, dang, man, it's still a black man overseas, and I'm thinking, like, out of all the people that get the opportunities, why does that black man don't get the opportunity? Like, I mean, because some people still want to see that Wilder and AJ fight.
And I think it's still a market for that. And Anthony Joshua is a blessed individual, and I hope when he say that, he truly understand that. Not too many people could have 3 losses, and especially back-to-back losses, and still be able to participate in box office fights. Like, the people still support you heavily. They ain't jump shit. They still rock with you. So it's really still a market and for him and Wilder. And I think that's a blessing in disguise for AJ, man. I think it's really like secretly they need each other on the low.
I thought that should have been the next fight. To be honest, it would have been coming off of 2 losses, bro.
Yeah, and I get it. 2 losses. I think they're gonna get Wilder like his get back fight, and then they're gonna see where it go from there. But I think Andrew Ruiz is built like Bermain Stavern. And if you remember the first Bermain-Stavern fight, he had to box, remember? Because that was the first fight he didn't get a knockout in. He boxed, he used a jab. That's why I always allude to that fight for the people that say Wilder don't use his jab. Nah, y'all catching on when he fell in love and got complacent. He said it. It's not an excuse. That's real shit. He got complacent with that right hand. You could tell. Those Ortiz fights, that was around the time. I go back and look on the resume and have to like watch. I could really tell you at what point this dude really stopped like putting it together like he was and just start, relying too heavily on the right hand. He got complacent as fuck. That's exactly what happened. He started telegraphing that shit. That shit used to come like a whip at times, man. I done see him stretch people, had them motherfuckers punching and kicking while they on the ground. So it's like, nah, he can box, man. He just got complacent. He fell in love with the power. And I think Malik Scott is taking him back, not reinventing him, but he just polishing the tools that he already had in his bag. That's all he doing. And I think that's why we're going to see a good version of Wilder. As long as his punch resistance ain't compromised because of the dent in his head, he gonna be fine, man. He gonna be all right.
Hey, this some good sparring, man. And see, that's why I rock with how you talk about boxing, because you can actually communicate that. And you can say that, but in the heat of talking about the champ, a lot of times it always come off as an indictment. So it's really a self-admission that he got the tools, but he neglected to use it. Some boxing fans are saying, okay, well, man, you didn't really box the way you could have, but the way you put it and the way you explained is like that's what happened. Like when you have a success with one thing and it's just like it works every single time, you're gonna be like, shoot, let me try this first. And then in those cases with Fury, it has some success, but it didn't have the success to lead him to the dub. But the way you said that is the best thing, man. So I mean, I guess hopefully we see that. I want to see that, man. I want to see that, and I think it'll do wonders for him if he's able to implement it, because we'll see something other than always. Now it's probably going to culminate in the right hand. But I want to see it mixed up and blended up. I just want to see some good boxing on that one.
Yeah, like the things that Malik Scott is working on, man, like nobody's gonna tell me if that man is able to implement half or not even half, like maybe 20 to 30% of what they've been working on in an actual fight. If he's able to actually transition the things he's worked on and sharpened up in training camp, and that should transition to the fight, that is bad news for the heavyweight division. The worst thing that could happen with a guy that got a missile like that is taking him back, kind of strip him down, take him right back to the basics. And this whole notion you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You ain't gotta teach him no new tricks. You just reteaching them these things. You just bringing these things back out of them. You get what I'm saying? You showing them, hey, look, man, I ain't adding shit to your game. I'm just sharpening what you already got so we could get the most out of you on fight night. And I think he with the right person, the stuff that he working on, the movement, the feints. He's slender. He in shape, man. He look fluid in there. He look like it's a effort to not telegraph the right hand. Like we could expect to see Wilder go to the body more. That shit was so fun seeing him go to the body against Fury, because that had
when I think it was like the first four.
Yo, he had him, man. He had him confused for a minute. Fury was like, hold on, this motherfucker ain't threw a right hand yet. He was throwing them just to your stomach where it hurt, touching that body up. Imagine that. Imagine Wilder being a body snatcher, bro. Punching like that. Man, so that's why I say if he able to implement 20-30% of what they've been working on, if you able to put or add anything to what you already got, you got you a dangerous fighter, man. And he headstrong and he motivated. And I hate the fact that people question his hunger. This is how I know you don't question somebody's hunger when they've shown the willingness to go directly into the fire. He's accepted the most dangerous fights that he possibly could have had in his career and did them both more than once. You get what I'm saying? So I don't think you could question the hunger. I think the fact that he made so much money and he's still coming back should tell you something. He ain't doing it for the money, so he's clearly doing it for the people at this point. He said that statue, motivated him in a way where it's like, how can I not come back after they gave me this? You know what I'm saying? So I think he's going to just make a last good run at the title, and I think he could do that. And I think if the stars align the right way, like, to be honest with you, Fury is bad for boxing. He is. He's just bad for boxing. He just need to go. He need to go. Him, the Daniel Kinahans of the world, they all need to take their asses and go somewhere. They need to get out of boxing. They need to go ahead and either make him and Fury fight each other, Fury and Usyk, or whatever, or let Usyk get Wilder an opportunity if he spark Helenius, how I feel like he's gonna do at some point. You know what I'm saying? I want to see stars align. He could be a unified champion, man. That should be crazy.
But I think I thought I heard a mention of I thought they said a Wilder Fury 4. I was just like, man,
you heard
like,
it, but
I don't know, man. I kind of
Wilder said he'll fight him for a fourth time, but he said he not fighting Wilder again by any stretch of it. He said he ain't fighting that boy no more.
All right.
They put each other through a lot. Yeah, Fury said he ain't fighting him, but Fury said a lot, man. He's a character. First, this dude was gonna fight. He wanted to fight for free in front of the UK fans. You know, then he demanded $500 million. You know what I'm saying? Then he out here giving people dates and ultimatums and like, bro, take your ass home. Take your ball and that belt with you. Just have them make another fresh belt. Just take that shit with you. Don't nobody even care, bro. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I had cooked on the Clarissa Shields situation earlier today and shit. I did an early live at like 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, some shit like that.
It's cool. Give me a synopsis because I have my opinions on Clarissa, but that's why I welcome people who, like, sometimes they got diverse. I want to know because I learn and I gain a different perspective and logic on how I'm seeing.
Me and you are always flow. See, that's why I recognize energy, and I ain't got to be physically in front of you to recognize the energy. Think the way you run your shit is going to be similar to how I do mine's already. You about the conversation, productive conversation. You welcome diversity and perspectives because you get the best conversation that way. But for Clarissa, what I had cooked on, I don't know if you heard about the Ring magazine stripping her.
I saw a headline, but I didn't get in depth. I wanted to listen to somebody,
they stripped her. I did a live on that earlier and shit. They stripped her at a 154-pound Ring magazine belt, and she like, what the hell? She like, I ain't vacate nothing. What the hell y'all talking about? Like, she basically like she found out the same way we did on the internet type shit. Just woke up one day, oh shit, they stripping her. Like she ain't got the belt. She like, I ain't vacated, and they saying according to the rules, like they could do it because it's been 18 months or something since she or more than 18 months since she's defended the belt at 54, and they said she don't have no plans on going back, obviously. So they just made a decision for her, and she said like. Obviously, it's one fight at a time, but she said after Marshall fight, she has no problem going back to 54 and giving any of the champs hell, or defending her belt. But I think that's an attempt to kind of maybe see if they could dim her light a little bit, as her just being the force that she is, or maybe they hoping that could distract her from the goal, man. That's going to be bulletin board material, man. Remember, I said this earlier, Savannah Marshall got to get in there, y'all. So while y'all pulling a little slick, political bullshit, y'all stripping her on a technicality. Meanwhile, you got Canelo Alvarez that ain't I don't think fulfilled the mandatory obligation in over a year. So what we talking about? But you ain't strip him. He get the hot weight classes, hold up the whole 168, go fight at 75, and then fight somebody that we didn't ask you to fight. You didn't fight the most dangerous guy there, so we obviously know that wasn't no legacy move. That was you thinking a cherry pick going wrong. I'm gonna keep saying it. That was a bag move and a cherry pick going wrong. And he was chasing more of that manufactured legacy that he got going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, for Clarissa, you got then you got people like Loma is a favorite. He at war. They got him on the pound for pound list. I always say this: you swap Devin Haney record with Loma's, he wouldn't even be in a conversation for being a pound for pound fighter with 2 losses. That's because that's all the hell they'd be talking about. They'd be like, that boy ain't even got 20 fights yet, and he got 2 losses. Just think about that. That boy out at war. Y'all got him high up on the pound for pound list. So when he come back, his position is solidified. You giving him his sparring partner that nobody's complaining about since we complaining about Wilder fighting his sparring partner. I just was pointing out the double standards and like, the belts don't determine her worth at the end of the day. The quality of the fighter that's holding the belts get the belts their worth. It's not the other way around. The belts don't make the fighter. The fighter make the belts.
Exactly.
Nothing but quality since she been here. And I got a little saying like she's walking history. She really turning history into her story. Every time she get in the ring, man, she's special. So I think that was just a way to kind of slide her in any way they could. Maybe she see a headline and maybe she won't be focused or locked in. I think they underestimating her ability to stay focused and get the job done. So they could try the little slick stuff. And why I played that angle, you know, of course, this is my opinion. I can't pass it along as fact, but why I look at it that way, because the timing of it. It's the 15th would be right here. That's 2 weeks away. Yeah, let's throw this out here. And they know, and then follow me. I didn't even go this deep. I ain't even use this angle on my shit. Just think about it. How she's a very proud fighter. She'll tell you in a heartbeat. I'm a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. You get what I'm saying? She'll run down her accolades in a heartbeat. But I don't think it comes from a place of arrogance. I think that's just this by far one of the most confident athletes in the world, man. She'll let you know, look, I've been doing this. I've been putting on since I've been here. So I think they know her MO. They know she value what the work that she put in. They know that's slighting her. I'm gonna add this too. I read a little bit deeper into the article, and they also said that they were supposed to, you know, as sanctioned body, they're supposed to call her or something and like have a discussion with their champions to see what their future plans is before they go ahead and strip them. So basically, had they afforded her the phone call they were supposed to, then she would have told them, look, I got plans of going back there. Let me take care of business over here. And y'all would have left her alone. But they just would have had and made the decision for her. And not only did they do that, they doubled down and said the decision is not being reversed at all. So they doubling down. So she don't got the ring belt at 154. And then you see the little slick bullshit. You got Marie Eve DeCare. That's the chick that she beat up recently, fighting Natasha Jonas or something like that. And I think they might have them two fight for that belt. But that's weak. Whoever win that belt should go walk that shit or mail that shit right to Clarissa, to the rightful owner. All that shit is going to do is put a target on her back, because after she handled business with Savannah, she go back to 54 and get him some hell, man. I you know why I respect Clarissa Shields? And I'm saying this, and this is why she the fucking GOAT. Ain't nobody mentioning Shadeja Green. They want to act like she don't exist. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you, if you ain't heard of her, bro, look her up. Shadeja.
I know about Shadeja.
I mean this with the utmost respect. She do not fight like no female. Sorry. That she look like she got power in both hands. She look different in that ring, man. I'm like, I would like to see her get a shot at Fran Chon, but they in the same division. They got the same amount of fights. Get what I'm saying? But Clarissa was saying she a fighter. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, see, man, Clarissa just a special. She a special talent. She different, man. She really different. Because I feel like Shadeja gonna be one of them people they try to duck if they could. Because that's not how you want to get in there with. The way she fight, I know it can't be smoke and mirrors. That shit just look a little bit different in there. Like, I feel like Clarissa don't really fight like that, like a female. To me,
It's on record that she be giving grown men that work, that wizard. But she be. Hey, I was checking for her. I was checking for her. I got exposed to her a while ago, about close to 2 years ago, maybe. I've been tracking, but it's just sometimes when I be having all my main dishes, I be my a la carte line my funnel be stacking up because you can only do so much and stand over current events. So for you know what I'm saying, I be checking for her. So I'm definitely going to
I had did a little like a prospect watch on her, like I call it the best kept secret. I had sent it to her. I sent her the video, a little short video just highlighting. I think I actually put that one together pretty good. And she actually responded, and she was saying how she appreciated me. She was pretty cool about it. You know what I'm saying? She reposted this shit to her page. Then she came back and DM'd me again. She was like, "Oh shit! Like, I didn't know this was a video." She said, "I thought it was like a fight poster." I'm like, "Oh nah, it's a video." She watched it. She was like, she won't forget it. She was like, boxing need people like me. And I'm like, man, appreciate it. That's all I do is I feel like we spend so much time talking about these fighters. Why the fuck we can't reach out to these people? They only people, bro.
Yeah, I've been reaching out. Shout out to Shadeja Green too. Yeah, man. I be reaching out too, man, on the low. But sometimes they be thinking, with the state of how people make content now, they be thinking you want something or whatever. But I truly be wanting to know, because the blue collar ones, man, you gotta encourage them. You gotta figure out a way for them to be able to hear or let them know that it is people that's actually checking for you. They might want to see more of you. You know what I'm saying? But they actually pulling for you and they waiting for you to come out the woodworks.
Yeah.
But since we were talking about Clarissa, let me ask you this. Somebody said that AB and Michaela might steal the show that day. What do you think about that fight?
She very. I mean, shit. She got a big fight on her hands too. That's definitely a quality fight. I mean,
Super lightweight,
she was
undisputed.
always there to kind of steal the show, but it won't be easy to steal the show from the greatest woman of all time. It's gonna be tough because that fight means so much. But both of these fights mean a lot. But Clarissa is one of one, and that backstory, man, it's gonna be hard to top it. But she is in a position where, with the right performance, she could definitely, make a case for stealing a performance for sure. It's like I'm starting to lean towards Bumgarner. I think they underestimating her a little bit. I think they're giving Mayer too much credit. I think
Yeah,
that's. I like the boxer and Michaela Mayer, but I like both of these chicks. But I don't know. I'm starting to think. I don't know. You got You got like a boxer. You know what I mean? She shows she could get on that front foot and do some damage a little bit, Michaela Mayer. But you got an athletic female that she boxed a little bit. Then she got a different style, like her rhythm in there, man. She a little.
yeah. She go with them angles. I've been doing because I've been putting together this women's boxing because I'm gonna do that every week, every Wednesday in some shape or form and highlight. Two of them would. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start pouring more into it, and so I've been having to look at film and watch the moves and the angles, and I was listening to Tony Harrison and how he was talking about her, and I'm like, man, like in the way she talked, the physique, then I was listening to Michaela, and I was listening to her coach, and he was saying, man, she outworked all the men that he met. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, wow. Like, he was saying that, we got to start taking heed to women's boxing. So I think that's going to be a good fight. I meant to ask you is, do Clarissa and Savannah go the distance or not? You ain't got to tell me when or give no prediction, but does it go the distance?
Yeah. I think it does, though. I think it do. I think it do. I mean, I feel like the only way it don't if Savannah lands some type of phantom punch or Clarissa get on top of her body fast and wear her down because a lot of people might have slipped past some people. She was hurting that girl to the body a lot in her last fight. That girl was literally running like damn near. She was taking gallops. She was taking a walk around the block to get away from Clarissa in that fight. Her body work is underrated, and I think she a victim of the 2-minute round system. I think if she had 3-minute rounds, that extra minute to hurt that girl that she had retreating like that, I think she would have stopped her. But I think that it's gonna go the distance because Savannah ain't gonna quit unless for some reason her chin suspect. I think she gonna get touched up, man. I think that she gonna present some I guess some challenges, but I just don't think the power is gonna be as I don't think that's gonna be the deciding factor the way they making it seem. And Clarissa ain't no stationary target. Savannah is good when you're a stationary target, when she could just kind of walk you down and be long and just to pretty much be able to pick her shots. In her last fight, even though she knocked the girl out, the girl wasn't fighting with a huge amount of confidence. She was trying, but you could see that it was a lack of confidence in her work, and she still was able to touch Savannah a little bit before she knocked her out. But I think Clarissa gonna present a whole different set of problems, and the fact that she ain't challenged herself as a pro for real like that, she ain't really done that. Like, I don't know. I think she ain't as battle tested as Clarissa is. Like, how many females could say their first fight was Franchon Cruz? You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't lost since then. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. So
undisputed champion at this point, like shit, crazy.
yeah, I'm with you. I'm rocking with you, man. I give Clarissa a hard time sometimes for other things outside the ring, but inside the ring, man, hey, until proven otherwise. You know what I'm saying? She's that one. I just got two things I'm gonna touch on, man, and I'm gonna wrap it up real quick. One is like what's your stance on Andre right now?
I mean, I got somebody that be speaking to him directly, yo. So you know what I'm saying? He told me that they got that Benavidez thing might be a real thing, yo. That might, and you see, I don't know if you came across this, videos being made about it now. People are making videos talking about that. I hear they in negotiations. Andre and Benavidez. So I'm hearing
real legs is on that. Real legs.
Yeah, I'm hearing his real legs. Like, all right, the dude, and he like family since I've been doing his YouTube shit. Dude been in like one of my first lives, and he always been like family, and the shit that he be dropping be valid. Like he don't just be talking. And I think a lot he known around here a little bit in these new YouTube streets. Like he know these fighters directly. That's why he campaigned for he a heavy advocate for Boo Boo. And he always talking like he was breaking down the situation like with the money. So that's why he pulled out again. And you see people start making the videos because they kind of using it as an attempt to tear him down. I don't see how. I mean, we ain't got to feel sorry for him, but I ain't about to make no video blaming it all on him when you could simply look at his career and say, how many times y'all caught that dude at a press conference calling for the smoke, respectful to the motherfucker, trying to fight. So now that this like this, you think that boy is supposed to fight for 180K after taxes or before taxes, like some shit like that? Like hell no, it was 300 and something. You know they gonna you getting taxed on that. Then you got people to pay. That's kibbles and bits. They disrespectful as hell. That undefeated Olympian, former champion, 2-weight division champion, like. Y'all gonna pay that boy pennies to fight an undefeated fighter like that? Disrespectful. So
that's yeah.
That's I hear the legs. I hear some real legs behind that. I hear if Samson okay and everything like that too. I hear they gonna rock with it. You get what I'm saying? I'm hearing they gonna rock with it. But I hope they make that fight. I think that's a fight he could win. Believe it or not, it ain't gonna be easy though.
But yeah, I say yeah, because I was talking about it earlier this week, and I said, even though the track record and history is some things where you can point fingers, you can play the blame game, and it got to be some self accountability there. I said, but I always, at the end of the day, I always reside at the fact that if the quote unquote face of boxing induct you, and at the time, if Benavidez, which is the new wannabe face of boxing, is wanting an outrageous amount of money to fight you, then we just want to see you more active and with some names. And I was just questioning the mood, but I said, I'm glad I did. I said, we're going to give him a mulligan. I said, we're going to give him a mulligan on this one. And I was like, we're going to wait and see, because that day I had looked on there and I was like, man, I seen him training.
Yeah.
So, let me see. Come on. Yeah. I had seen him training, so I said, "Man, I'm gonna give him a mulligan on it, and I'm gonna send positive vibes his way. Because at the end of the day, man, he's an East Coast brother. He got children. He is very dangerous. Whether it's some ring rust and where he stand or whatever, and the fact that he has been on camera being disrespectful to Canelo, calling him out. A lot of people made a lot of little videos and made a mockery out of it, and I was like, man, how is that even acceptable? He was called boring. And that's dismissive, but that was just another one of the things that was on the laundry list of things that people that Canelo didn't want to fight. So I'm like, man, with all that being considered, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. So I hope he see Benavidez. I think that I'm not gonna say overrated. I think that a lot of people rely on David Benavidez's popularity and his fan base, and they push him more. But when you actually do a resume X-ray on him, whereas when he first went, he got a vacant. He got a vacant. He lost it due to himself. Nobody put that nose candy in his, what I'm saying? Nobody give him that nose candy, you know what I'm saying? Like, didn't nobody tell him to miss weight? And then, I rolled on that for a little while, and then I said, you know what? Everybody need a, clean slate. So I dropped that. And then I said, okay, let me look specifically at the resumes. And I was looking at the resumes, I'm like, wow. And then even when I look at Kyron Davies was grossly undersized, and it was very late replacement. And I said, man, if you give Kyron Davies the proper training camp and the time notice, man, that fight might look totally different. And
I think it would have. He took everything he threw. His corner just didn't want him to keep taking punishment, but he stood up to everything Benavidez threw. That's like the second fight I seen him in, because He was just unloading, not because he knocked the guy down or had him out on his feet. None of that. It's just punishment wise. You like, you going, you don't want to have your fighter with no long term shit going on. But I be trying to tell people, I think he got heavy hands, but I think it's still the accumulation that's getting people out of there. I don't think he's truly is heavy as a puncher as some people might make it seem.
You can't with the way those punches go. You can't be that if you can't be that if you're not getting the proper range, and it's not. To me, I think it's like, and some people ain't gonna let you do that, man. You got some people that can stand right there and dip down.
They punch in between. Ronald Gabriel caught him. Remember, Ronald Gabriel put him on his ass like that with a jab. Put him on his ass. It was more of a balance thing, but he caught him right in between his punches. It's like when you want to rip them combinations, it's cool, but your techniques suffer when you throw a combination like that. So it's cool, but if you in there with the right motherfucker and they ain't scared, they understand. To be able to beat him, you got to catch him in between them combinations that he throw. I'm telling you, yo. I'm telling you. And I want to see his chin get tested for real. I seen him take some shots too now, but the jury's still out. I want to see what his chin really made of. I think that Canelo fight is less. It's like after what I seen, bro, it's less 50-50 than it ever been, yo. I don't even know if it's 50-50 no more.
Yo. Now, people be surprised when I actually say I pick Canelo to beat him because Canelo is relentless to the body, and Canelo, his upper body movement, he's going to be able to hit him, but I don't think he's disciplined enough like Bivol to be able to stay behind it and not do what Canelo wants. Because when Canelo invited Bivol in there, you know what I'm saying? And Bivol was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I already know I'm up. I already know you got to beat this jab. And right now, I'm, you know what I'm saying? Right now, I own this fight. You got to do something. As soon as you do something that you ain't supposed to do, I'm watching. And I'm going to catch you. I think that Benavidez, he's been relying on the fact that he's kind of been the bigger, longer, stronger guy. I think that you can say that he has a high motor and it lasts, right? But at the same time, that's because he's all offense and people kind of clam up and allow him to just pick his spots at some point to where at some point they get caught with something and it's not good. They either go down or that's the beginning of the end. Now, he go against somebody that's going to stand right there in front of him and negotiate what he's able to give and come right back with something, and then or make him pivot. Now, Andre is going to move. He has great lateral movement, and he can stop on a dime and uppercut you or jab you. I just question
if throw some uppercuts in weird angles.
It's almost like that uppercut that Boots throw. Boots got an underhand uppercut it's like a jab, but where it's coming,
like he almost jump into it.
It's like man, it's. But I'm thinking, man, Andre can catch it. My question is, if Benavidez tee off on that guy and conditioning, but with both of them, I kind of question the conditioning. Like when it start going through the 8th to the 12th, it's just who got the better conditioning at that point for me.
Yeah,
but I don't know about chin wise, like who has the better.
Canelo conditioning is suspect, and I think the biggest issue would be for him in that fight would be the size disadvantage that he'd be at, and the activity. He's not busy enough at this point for me to feel like he is as big of a threat as what he used to be. You know what I'm saying? If he'd have fought Benavidez some years ago before he got super lazy and complacent, maybe it's a tougher fight for Benavidez. But I think now, we got 24 rounds to see how he act. The one of them, he ain't make no adjustments and lost damn near every round. The second one, he won, but just wasn't impressive. And he's not busy at all. And one of the fighters, the former fighter, Tim Witherspoon Jr., I was on the panel with him, and he made an interesting point. He was like, you know what? With Canelo, like after watching that fight with Triple G, the trilogy, he was like, yo, he might as well go up to heavyweight. And the reason he said it, he's like, yo, he's just not busy at all at the weight. He don't throw a lot of punches, and he's good. He's good at bluffing. And like my man said earlier, man, a lot of people give him a lot of credit for getting so much better since Mayweather. I'm going to say this. I'm going to be honest. His feet still as bad as they always was. Still got slow feet, fast hands. I think what did improve was his upper body movement and, head movement to a certain degree. But I think his ability to pick fights got better. So I'm saying, so he got like a manufactured resume. I think that shit is smoke and mirrors for real with Canelo. and name me a time in his career where he dominated an elite fighter. Name me one time in all them 60 plus fights where he dominated an elite fighter ever. He never done it. Never. So that dude ain't as good as they bill him out to be. That's why I be on his ass like that, because I kind of see through the smoke and mirrors. Like, I don't give a damn. Some of the fighters look up to him. Clarissa Shields give him a lot of respect. Shakur Stevenson give him a lot of respect. But I understand their set of eyes might be different from mine because they box. So maybe they looking at it in terms of, I'll do this shit. But to me, you being honest, man, that dude, the way he move is only benefiting his pockets. You know what I'm saying? He only lining his pockets. He ain't making no legacy moves. It been not being about legacy with Canelo. That shit is about money. And how much of it can I make before I get up out of here?
Yeah, I don't know where he I don't know where he go. I tend to think Ryder. I think Ryder, but I don't know. But Andre and Benavidez.
Yeah.
Andre and Benavidez, is that chin? Who has the better chin?
Andre been down once in his career. So they both been down once.
Who put him down?
Vanez Martirosyan. He fought Martirosyan at like, was that 54? Did they fight? Was that at? I think so. But Vanez dropped Boo Boo. He only been down once. He got up. I remember he got up. He shook that off, and he pretty much won the rest of the fight. It was like one of those, you got caught, now wake up type shit. It's like he ain't get up staggering. He just got pat on his ass.
Yeah. I think Loma kind of like that. I think Loma kind of Loma like to take a little bit of abuse. I think Tank, to a certain extent, Tank be figuring shit out, but you fuck around and catch Tank. You know, anybody ever dropped him, but you catch Tank with a good one, just like Bud. You catch them, you know, Bud kind of like that, where he got to get, he got to get a little, okay, you mean, you mean business, Sometimes it could be good, sometimes it could be bad, but I hope we get that. You know what I'm saying? I hope we get that. And I've heard improvement. Ironically, I've actually heard improvement from Senior, from Jose Benavidez, from the coach. I've heard improvement from him, man. Like the way he was talking, some of the things he was saying, so I'm thinking, man, with him having, suffered a loss with Ryu and all that, maybe he'd be more in tune with Benavidez and he can coach. I just don't know how that fight go, because I think Benavidez he's going to spend a lot of time chasing Andre around. Andre has to be opportunistic, and he has to have his cardio right.
The feet might cause him problems. Benavidez is a lack of footwork. I ain't saying he got terrible feet, but I think Andre definitely got the more educated feet, the better feet. I think that could create an issue or a challenge for him in terms of like trying to establish range to get off his shots, because Andre got that awkward movement, man. He throw them punches on weird angles, and I've seen Benavidez get caught off balance before and drop.
Guess what another thing is? He's a southpaw.
Yeah, that can fight.
That's, when you're dealing with a southpaw, them angles is different. And then let me ask you this, because people don't think about that southpaw. And I think that, sometimes, man, it's just you kind of got the up if you know what you're doing. But naturally. But who has the better body work? Who do better body work between Benavidez and Andre?
Shit, man. Benavidez do some real good body work, bro. And he gets you on both sides. He bang that body like a drum for real. I see him concentrating more to the body than maybe an Andre, but I think that could be a focal point for Andre. Like, that's why I appreciated Floyd, man. Not to even bring him into the conversation, but he was always the smarter man. And that it just had to be one of those Andre to have to fight like that. He got all the skills and all the physical tools to be able to beat Benavidez. But are you gonna mentally be able to put it together where you could beat this dude for real? You know what I'm saying? You put it together in a complete performance and beat him. I think you could, but I think that's gonna be something interesting going forward, man. The people that decide to go to that dude's body, because he got weaknesses. He got weaknesses, and we don't know if his body is one, because to hit his body is you're gonna run into some resistance for sure, man. Dude gonna try to fuck you up. So I really think he beat Canelo at this point. I think he beat him convincingly too. Cause I see him being able to them combinations. That's what Canelo gonna struggle with, and he gonna try to be cute the same way he was trying to be cute against Beaver. But what was happening? He was doing all that, trying to wave him in. Beaver was like, nah. I'll fight you how I want to fight you. That. If I want to come in, I'm gonna come in. Because when he wanted to, he came in. But it's like, I think we just seeing a physically limited Canelo Alvarez, and I think longer he stay in boxing without fighting these people, you just ain't never gonna see it. I think you're gonna spend the rest of his career handpicking his fights, which is not good for boxing at all. Yeah, 45 million, yo. He gave us a pay-per-view sparring match with Triple G. That right there was the telltale sign for me. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I know what I seen with the Beaver fight, but I know what I also seen with a guy that you already beat. That version of Triple G, you should have been able to have more success. I seen Murata had better moments in the fight than Canelo did. Yes. They did not even hurt each other, bro. That's the first fight I seen Triple G power not show itself at all, and for a whole 12 rounds. You never seen it. That's how you know he passed it. A puncher that don't punch. How the fuck you gonna win? He reduced that man to a jab, bro. I'm like, nah.
I think that was it, man. That was one of them silent agreement fights. Mm-hmm. It was a silent agreement fight where it's like, look, we're gonna go in here. We ain't gonna try to kill each other. Like, I'll let you have your moment. You let me have my moment. But for both
gonna knock each other out. Nobody gonna get hurt.
Yeah, nobody gonna get hurt. It's gonna look better for us if it go like this, where it ain't none of that. You know what I'm saying? Because then we can kind of write. Our fans gonna let us get away. You know, the writers is actually going to make it seem like it's way more or whatever. They're gonna run with whatever they're gonna do. We can't control how they put it. But really, what it showed me was you couldn't get rid of the 40-year-old version. You couldn't get rid of the 40-year-old version. And you needed to make a statement, and ultimately the choice you made not to fight them, them other two guys or three guys and fight these guys was not, in hindsight, for a lot of people, I was calling in real time and before that wasn't the right move. I don't even worry about Ginger no more. I say, hey man, you get into the bag, and since everybody else want to respect you and say your name, who am I? Have fun. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at these guys that look. You already, for Jamal, his biggest thing is that he waited on Canelo all that time. That's his biggest knock. Like, why are you gonna spend your time waiting? Andre spent his time waiting. Benavidez got in that same holding pattern, waiting on Canelo. It's time that, okay, look, we'll give you some mulligans for this guy not doing that. So some of them moves and some of them fights is like, look, you gotta eat, you gotta fight, you gotta build. No, y'all got to mix it up and fight each other. You know, You got to mix. So to have Andre fight Benavidez, you got to know that Maul got to be somewhere in the mix, or hopefully it's a 2-fight deal. Or maybe the winner can kind of, somehow either Maul go up to 68. Maul gonna have to go up to 68, or I don't know what Andre want to do if he there to stay. If he going to get is because I don't know if Canelo ever is going to give him a shot. So I think that, man, all these little scares and this back and forth and not being able to land the deal when y'all was all on the same network, all in-house, which in the fight didn't happen. Fight who's available. Can't worry about Munguia because they're going to move him. And Golden Boy, they keep getting all these passes.
They said I read a statement from them where they straight up said they patent Jaime Munguia record, bro. Like, fuck the speculation that I had for years that's what they was doing with that dude. Hell with what I thought. I read this shit word for word. They said they got a plan to run his record up to 40 something and without losing, and then get him a big fight or some shit. I said, so y'all admitting to patent his record, bro. How you gonna run his record up? It's just the wording that you use, the way you phrased it. You gonna run his record up. I forgot what the number. They had a specific number in mind. He is close to that number too, because he got a lot of wins. He close, but I don't know if he gonna reach it. I think he might run out of luck before he reach it. Because Edgar Berlanga, I hope he hurry up and get something done with John Ryder before Canelo come back and try to fight him. Because I said if he can get a John Ryder fight, beat him, I think that kind of puts him out of position for him to even be a potential opponent for Canelo. Get what I'm saying? I think if he able to skate through without getting no fight until Canelo come back, I think we at risk of seeing that fight. I think and he gonna use the wrist injury as an excuse possibly too. You know what I'm saying? A layoff. He gonna try to pick somebody that he could beat. He playing people, and that's why I say as boxing fans, y'all gotta be. That's why I don't call myself a fan. I call myself a supporter. Y'all support the wrong shit in boxing, man. This dude, y'all cool with him giving us pay-per-view sparring matches? Them dudes wasn't bumped up, brute. Like what was that? What the hell was that? That shit was terrible. That was one of the worst trilogies I ever watched, bro. That's not a you want to see a real trilogy match? Go watch motherfucking I keep telling people Israel Vasquez and Rafael Marquez. Go watch Marquez brother and that Vasquez dude put on. I'm telling you right now, you'll enjoy that trilogy, bro. If you ain't see them fights, go watch them. I won't even tell you who won and lost, but I guarantee you gonna rock with them dudes, man. I've been watching a lot of old shit lately too. It's this channel, man, that they got a lot of like, know what I'm saying? Like, let me find out that like this is why I talk this shit, because I don't be bored by this. I'm watching black and white clips, like, and being entertained by this shit. Like these dudes from back in the day was special, man. They all came to fight. It wasn't no such thing as ducking and being scared. That shit didn't exist. Them dudes got in there and fought. They're like, it don't matter who they was fighting, man. All them dudes brought it. I was watching a lot of them. The Marvin Haglers. Who else, man? The white Muhammad Kwawi. I was watching him. Evander Holyfield back in the day. Ezra Charles. Jersey Joe Walcott, man. God damn, man. I was watching all this shit. I was binging on this channel, man. I'm still going to binge on it because every video I watched is fire. You can watch that shit all the way through. Aaron Pryor of the world, man.
You gotta let me know what that is, because I'm gonna check that channel out. But I do that. I like right before the big ones, like early in the day before the big ones, I try to go back and watch, you know what I'm saying, one of the older fights. Like I used to get upset, and when I used to get upset, I used to go back and watch Mayweather and Mayweather and Canelo.
Me too.
And I was like, man, how in the world did somebody ever even form their mouth to say that it was a draw, like in any shape? Like, how could I'm like, man, that's just like that epitomizes the corruption and how backwards boxing can be at point in time. Because I be watching whole fights and then I hear people talking about the fights and people doing commentary, and I'm like, bro, what fight were y'all watching, man?
I feel like that about Shakur fight, bro. I feel like that about Shakur fight. I was there. I'm from Jersey. I'm in Jersey now. The Prudential Center probably not even a full hour away from me. I made it there. I had good ass seats. I seen everything I needed to see. I'm like, you cannot walk away from that fight as a real and give a assessment saying, yo, he played it safe. Like what? Since when is staying in the pocket playing it safe? You obviously giving dude more opportunities to hit you. That's why he landed some of the punches he landed. He still only hit him 60 times. That shit is crazy. I'm like, yo, y'all, somebody they sitting up there talking about he got hit too much. All right, show me somebody that get hit less than him. If he get hit too much, everybody get hit way too much because he got the best defense in boxing. And that fight was an illustration of that too. You was able to see that. How many people could stay in the fire that long without getting burned and it backfiring, or you fuck around? Now, one time did Shakur get caught with a shot, you was like, oh shit, he get caught with that again, it might be over. Nah, he fought that fight like a boss. That's what I'm saying. And he got a mature game to his pedigree is different, man. I hope we see him and Devin Haney down the line. I swear I want to see that matchup bad.
And look, in Shakur, he was hitting Shakur gloves a lot. A lot of them were glove shots.
Fact.
And, everybody talked about the low blows. There were some low blows, but
it was
because Conceição was holding a lot. He was trying to get that head,
leaning in with his head and shoulder.
But man, I'm like, man,
head up in his, like, you know what I mean, up in his chest, like, you know what I mean. I'm like, you putting yourself in some of them positions, man.
And he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. You know, he murkied the waters. I say he murkied the water some. But boring. That wasn't a boring fight. That wasn't a boring fight at all.
The standard for him is so high that people, instead of giving him credit for that masterpiece that he just painted on Conceição, y'all walked away talking about he ain't knock him out. His mouth wrote a check, his ass couldn't cash. I'm like, Just so we clear. So he 12 zipped this man. Not only did he do that, what he did say he was going to do to him is beat the shit out of him. He told him that several times to his face. That's what he did do to him. He never once said, I'm knocking him out. Never. You can't find me one interview where he said he's going to knock this dude out. So I'm like, this whole notion that he was supposed to knock him out and didn't, that's how you know what level y'all holding him to. Because we talking about a pure boxer. You don't expect knockouts in Shakur Stevenson fights. You know that the potential of a knockout is there if he land the right kind of shot or the right series of shots. We know a knockout could present itself, but you don't go into no Shakur Stevenson fight expecting a knockout. Now, if it's Tank Davis, of course you would walk in there. I can understand if you walked in there and you expect a knockout. But even with that, sometimes that's not going to always be the case either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know, man. You got to know what you getting when you watching a fighter that you watching.
But that's also from a this is slightly from a casual perspective. Somebody that was a casual would actually say that, because hardcore know that the higher level of the competition, the less likely knockouts are happen, because the matches are more even. And I would consider a Conceição like on a like how I would perceive like a Ugas. It's like, they are, they're professional. They have a skill set. If you're not supposed to be in there, they're gonna make you look like you're not supposed to be there, a la Ugas and Ray Robinson. Put him on his back pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like ASAP, like Vicious. He turned it on, was like, yeah. And he was on, you know what I'm saying? Conceição, he did. Only reason why the judges really took that and the impetus that they used to rob him that time was the showboating. But he handled Valdez too.
Yeah, he did.
And then when you look at how Shakur handled Valdez and then how Shakur handled him, it's like you got to be knowing what you're looking at to give a proper assessment. If you say it was boring, knowing the caliber of fighter that you were facing, because Valdez was a bad man. I don't know how many times I've seen that highlight of him, you know what I'm saying, with that uppercut in that time against a Burchell, who in time people saw that this man was just coming forward, lost. He would just follow you around, chin all unprotected, and he got caught. He had a lot of flaws, and Valdez exploited it. And Valdez do have an explosive, you know what I'm saying? His left is explosive. He do have some explosion behind his punches. You know what I'm saying? But I think that a lot of that really boiled down to the post-fight and what he said at the post-fight. Everybody's actually using that because it's another way to add more chips and to tip the scales in the favor of the other fighter. And so a lot of the criticism and all that is coming down on Shakur from many different angles.
Yeah.
So I think he did a good job. He has fought champion after champion after champion. I don't know about how losing the belts, leverage wise, how that's going to affect him, but he announced that he's going to 35, and I look for him. I check for Shakur, man. I never. You can't say born. Like you kind of people lose me if they say born.
Yeah.
I'm like at that point I'm like, man, they ain't even really know. I found myself doing that. I still comment on some things, but like some things I can't even respond no more, man. I can't even engage because it's like you let me know that. You might not know shit about boxing.
Yeah, for real. Motherfuckers just don't know the sport that they claim to love. A lot of these people don't know why they even talk this shit because they complain too much. That's why I say I like being the voice of reason on this shit and being like a breath of fresh air, man. I actually enjoy the boxing that I'm watching. I don't sit up and watch this shit to complain. And I think when you of that mentality, and I think I've been seeing patterns lately. I think people feel like the more critical you are of a fighter, that means you keeping it real because you ain't, you letting them have it. Nah, we be overstating shit. You know what I'm saying? When I say we, I mean a lot of these people. Like you understand what you're watching and know how to give a fair assessment. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about giving a right or a wrong one. Just give a realistic one. Give a logical assessment. If you're going to critique the shit he did bad, it's the other side too, especially if we talking about one to fight. You had people speaking on the Shakur fight talking about straight negatives and just moving into the next conversation. So it's like, hold on. So y'all irresponsibly not even going to tell the viewers, and they pretty much already know who won. You're not even going to highlight none he did well. You're just going to talk about the bad and then move on. that's a poor assessment to me. That's not a real assessment. That's why I say people be either too emotional or they be overly critical to the point where their emotion is too involved in that particular assessment of a specific fighter. I've seen it when it comes to Shakur. Like, I remember I said this one time to somebody. I said, yo, they better be glad he's not at 135 now, because I say he's going to beat a lot of people's favorite fighters. And when I said that, the person who chat I'm saying it in should have known I wasn't saying it directly to that person, but because they favored Tank so much, they kind of just took it as I was saying, yo, when he get up there, I'm going to tell you right now, he's going to be one of the toughest fights for Tank Davis if they fight. It's going to be both, because it's going to be nerve-wracking for Shakur. You're going to have to make even less mistakes than you normally make in a fight. Can you raise your level that much higher to make even less mistakes than you make in any other fight? Can you do that? And as for Tank, can you close the gap in enough time to where in between 12 rounds? Because if not, he going to box your head off, man. He going to outbox you, and it's going to get crazy. That's why I want to see him and Devin Haney fight bad, man. I really think he gonna school him. I really do. I think he gonna make it convincing too. I don't think it's gonna be nip and tuck every single round, like back and forth. I think it could be like that early. Once Shakur settle into that rhythm, watch how Devin Haney got to work twice as hard to do the shit Shakur do in the ring, and that's ultimately why I feel like Shakur is the better fighter. All the shit they do, you look at the skill set, what they bring to the table, how they fight. Imagine Kambosos fighting a Shakur Stevenson. Like, not even trying to do like a triangle theory. Just imagine him fighting him. How he would have styled on him. You think people would have walked away from that fight saying all he did was play it safe and jab? Hell no, he would have really tried to hurt Kambosos. That's the difference. It's mentality. He a little bit different. He know how to try to be a dog, and he know how to do it without putting himself in the worst position to get himself knocked out or something like that. Like, he knew how to press Conceição, stay right in front of him in the pocket, in the fire without getting burnt. And I think when you seen Devin Haney do it, what happened? This is why I tell you, this is where you see the separation in defense specifically. Like, his transitions from offense to defense is smoother than Devin Haney's to me too, and he's better defensively. He showed you he could stay in the pocket and still make you miss at the same rate he would if he stayed on the outside. That's not the same. Devin Haney staying on the outside, he could lower your punch output and your punch percentage, your connects, obviously staying on the outside. But when he decided to press the fight and make it, he's shown that he takes considerably more shots when he does that. So when he sacrifices, he say, fuck it, I'm gonna stop boxing, stand on the outside, I'm gonna just press the fight, move forward. When he makes his mind up like that, I've seen him pay for it. The only thing is he's been fortunate that when the fighters that he's done that with, like Jojo Diaz, he fights very hard, but he ain't the biggest puncher. He put a lot into his shots. Like, I believe he could dig, but how many left hands he caught Haney with? Just coming straight in. When Haney was trying to make the fight in that Jojo Diaz fight, he was getting clipped over and over and over. I'm like, yo. And then people don't peep that one defensive mistake that he make in every single fight is bending over to the right. If he bend over to the right, that's Tank Davis' left hand, he'd find himself getting woke up. I really do feel like that. I think when it comes to them three, I think the biggest fight out of them three is Shakur and Tank. I think Tank knocked Devin Haney out eventually. I don't think he'd be the jab and stay on the outside all night. I just don't think so. And I think Shakur is just got a different pedigree. That Olympic background, that shit count for something. Fuck the medal. It's just the experiences. Like his fight, he much more fluid in there. Like Devin Haney is a smooth operator too, but I don't know if you've seen his sparring. You seen that sparring clip? You can see it. You see it. When Devin Haney got his shit off, where was Shakur at? Back to the ropes.
Yep.
When Shakur was getting his shit off, where was they at? Center ring. If they fight, where is the most of that fight going to take place at? The ropes are center ring. And they was in center ring. He was getting touched up. And then that was the sparring that a lot of people see that's out there. That's the first one. My cousin personally knows Shakur. Like, he grew up with him. You know what I mean? My cousin used to box. So he put me on to Shakur and Clarissa. Man, he said he seen that second sparring session. Said that shit was much, much less competitive than the first one. So he started putting hands on Devin Haney a little bit. And now you starting to hear that shit with him and Tank sparring. Devin Haney came out and said Tank cracked him with a good shot. Notice that's all he said. He just said he hit me with a good shot and then moved on and said, we did doghouse rules. All I know is I ain't step out the ring first. Nah, go back, rewind, and go back to that good shot. What happened when he hit you with that good shot? You're not finishing the story how you is with the doghouse rules. You got cracked with that shot. I heard Broner had to save him. I heard Broner had to jump in between. They said Haney was damn near out on his feet. Said Tank almost smoked his ass.
let me tell you the assessment of what I see. I'm gonna start with Shakur and Devin.
Yeah.
Right. It's clear that Shakur can fight on the outside, he can fight mid-range, and he can fight inside. So he has 3 distances in which he can fight. Devin has 2, where it's one on the outside and then sometimes in the intermediate, right? In the mid-range. And when he goes on the inside, the only time what I see is Devin he's pretty, I would say he's pretty accurate to where when he gets mad and he wants to let out some aggression, right? Because of his length. You gotta respect when he start throwing a combination. I seen him put some shit together that was like, damn, that could be scary if he keep doing that. The only thing is, see, that's when he's most dangerous. Right? Because he might be winning by points and all that. That's when he's most dangerous, but it's also when he's most vulnerable. So when he decides to commit and go on the inside and be very aggressive, he's the most dangerous, but he's also the most vulnerable, and he can get hit. And that's why I see that it's different. And Shakur will turn it on, and Shakur has that the same way Floyd did Canelo, where if he wanted to, he really could just stand right in front of you all night and just box. Because he know he can step back, his lateral movement is good, he keeps you honest because he goes upstairs and downstairs all the time. I think that it's a pattern where when it comes to Devin, as the competition has gotten better, he's made his living off of the jab, and the kind of fighters that he's been facing have not been offensive enough to capitalize on his mistakes. Because I saw back when he fought that dude Santiago and they was making a big deal about it. I think that dude was like 18-0.
He knocked him out.
Rico, right? He got him out of there. But if you look early on in that fight, man, that right hand, I said, oh my goodness. I said, man, if Tank this early on in them first, I think it was like the first 3 rounds. In them first 3 rounds, man, you got to go back. That's when I was doing my resume x-ray and I was looking at film and I said, man, if Tank land that right hand like that, man, it's over.
Yeah, OTB.
He can get rid of you upstairs, downstairs with the left or the right. He can get rid of you when he decides. Shakur can just beat you up all night, and if you can't take it and you know that you done put your hands in your pocket, he's going to press the issue. I think that we have to see, because just like Canelo when he went up against Triple G this last time, we want to see Dev when he goes up against George to actually get rid of this man. We want to see a statement with punctuation. Now we'll take a knockdown, but if what Shakur did with Conceição, who was like the Ugas of that division, and that was boring. I mean, we got to see the opposite of boring with a display on Kambosos. Now I look at Shakur and I look at Tank. Right, I say this. I think that Shakur will. I think because of the level and the magnitude of that fight, it's going to force Shakur to really go to another level, training wise and focus wise. Whether how he goes into his next fight and the next fight, however it goes down, his next 2 fights at this new weight, how he handles the transition. Because I was talking about it before, where you moving up in a weight class will not be any difference if you miss this weight class. If when you go up to that weight class, you're still going to allow yourself to get out of range and buck and have to, come back down or do like a fat camp or something before the camp, or part of your 8-week camp is going to be in part a fat camp. So it could be to your advantage if okay, now that I'm going up now, I don't gotta shrink down that much. But in general, I don't let myself get out of range that much. So depending on how he maneuvers in these next two fights, the level of competition on the next fight, and when that fight with him and Tank take place, that'll give me a better gauge as okay, how he gonna be coming in, how he gonna be looking. Is he gonna be more lethargic? Is his power gonna translate more because he gonna have more meat on the bone to get more torque in his punches? You know what I'm saying? I just think that when it comes to managing distance and all that, everybody knows that Shakur is a master at distance. I think him and Spence, they're like two of the best people I know as far as managing the distance that they want. They're going to be at the distance that they want, whether they decide to be in the inside, on the outside, on mid range. They're at a distance to where, and Derek James taught this. He said he teaches his fighters to never be in a position where they can't attack from that position. But they're also cognizant to know that, okay, I'm vulnerable in this spot, but in this spot, these are the punches I can land. And they stick to it round by round, standing, at those distances, stand in those stances and trying to do that. And every now and again, somebody might be able to capitalize on that mistake. That's why they're so good at the distance, right? I think that Tank knows Shakur is a master at manipulating distances. He knows what his weapons are. He knows that based on the fact that everybody want to see him lose, people going to try to say, oh, man, he outboxed, because there's been time when people were saying that he was getting outboxed, and clearly he wasn't getting outboxed. They didn't know what the fuck they was watching. I think that he knows that if it go to the scorecards, they're probably going to lean at Shakur because you can land on Tank. You might be able to land on Tank. Well, in boxing, where you're not knocking down or hurting anybody, Shakur would actually win that on points if you go to that style. I think that with Tank knowing that, it's going to come a point in time when it's like, look, something's going to have to happen. If I'm down on the cards, I'm going to have to engage and I'm going to have to go in there. And some of the mistakes that we see Shakur make every now and again when he do get touched or how he get touched, then Tank's power is different. So I think that if I had to look at the fights, the best fight that could be made out of Shakur and Devin and Tank, or Tank and Shakur, I would say is Shakur and Tank. Basically, because you got the better, you probably got, if you say offensively, you know what I'm saying, as far as, okay, my ability to touch my opponent, like, and do that, like, more effective and more impactful. I'm getting more reactions. I'm getting knockouts. I'm getting knockdowns. You got that in Tank. The more defensive is, my opponent is only landing at like 13%. You got that in Shakur. With Shakur and Devin, I think that Shakur's defense is more polished, and he's willing to take more risks because I think his reflexes are a little bit better. I think the way his vision is a little bit better, and he's more committed to, once he see a weakness, trying to exploit that. I think that it comes a point in time in a lot of Devin fights where he realized, I'm already up on points. I ain't really got to do nothing to mix it up to try to like get no glory.
It's like rinse and repeat.
I'm for the long haul, which for the long haul, not getting in the head, hitting in the head and all that, that's good. But when it starts coming into play as far as the numbers, you putting butts in seats, people saying, oh man, I'm not going to go do this to go see you. That's going to come into play, or your opponent's going to have to carry you in those fights in the future. So, that's how I see those comparisons. I want to see them mix it up, but yeah, man, it was a good cook, man. I don't know if you got anything on your mind. I appreciate you coming through, man, and chopping it up, man. But I don't know if you got anything on your mind. You can close it out with whatever you got, or
I'm right on par with you. I think this was a good cook, and again, bro, thing with me, I'm gonna make sure I tell my girl to subscribe to your channel too, bro. Make sure, like, tell my bros, a couple of the bros to sub to you too, man. Yeah, and we gonna keep rocking. Like, one thing about me, if when I rock with you, I rock with you. So you see it, you know what I mean? When I see you on, I ain't doing shit. I definitely jump on. We're gonna always be able to chop it up. Like I said, I got some topics that I still ain't necessarily touched yet anyway. And I don't know, depending on how shit go, man, I might because I did a late ass live. I was up late, but you ass be working. See, I don't work. So I'd be glued to this shit and doing my other little shit. But
nah, I'm a night owl, man. I'm a night owl, but yeah, during the week I be, should I be going? I'd be up. I'd be doing either way. I'd be making content, new stuff. You know what I'm saying? Trying to work
I be
on
seeing them edits
editing
and
and
shit like that.
yeah,
It's still shit. Shit. I taught myself how to edit. I got this shit called Wii Video that I be using to chop my videos up, and I probably ain't doing half the shit that it could do. You know what I'm saying? I'm still some shit to learn because I want to. That channel, the way they be breaking down them fights and doing that shit, I had a vision, man, in mind, and it ain't even got. I got this shit called Prospect Watch. If I'm able to get these clips, where I ain't got to worry about copyright issues, I could put them shits together in a way where I could tell a story. Like I did it. I did a few of them already, a few Prospect Watches. You know what I'm saying? It's not hard to do. It's just like the more footage I'm able to get, the easier I could paint the picture. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I did one on Truck Simpson that was pretty dope, but I ain't even posted. I just got the shit in the cut.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of because I had got a couple copyrights, but it was for footage, and it was for footage that wasn't even like for boxing.
Yeah,
like it was like like when it scrolled into the crowd and stuff like that. So I used to get them. I know what I can and can't do. I just figured when I first got started, it's like, man, when I use like a little sample from a movie or something like that, I was like, man, it ain't really, But when it started to where I had to start clipping out parts of my videos afterwards, it throw off everything going down the line. So I stopped doing it.
It
pretty
do.
good at it now. As far
Frustrating too.
Yeah, it is,
Take
man.
one clip out and throw your whole flow off. Like one little
man.
Yo, I know exactly what you went through. It's certain videos that I got up that don't really like. I know what happened when I edited them and took the clip out, made the whole video weird. Now the shit took a fucking 12-minute video to like 3 minutes or something, and it's the weirdest 3 minutes of the video. I'm like, God damn, bro.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, people will go back and watch his shit. Oh shit, that's what I wanted to tell you before we leave up out there. You heard of Rumble? Yeah, look into that, bro. I just got onto it like a couple days ago, right? And it's like another platform, you know what I'm saying? And basically, like the requirements for monetization ain't the same as the requirements over here. Like you need 1,000 subs, 4,000 watch hours to be eligible to be monetized. Over there is not the case. Like, and what I did is I created a Rumble account and I synced my YouTube to that. So everything I do on here, go to that. It's going to eventually upload to that because I got to sync to it. So at first it only had a couple of my videos up, like maybe 5 or 6. Then I looked back the next day and it had like 3 pages of my videos. Like, you get what I'm saying? And none of them was monetized yet because it was still pending as they, it take a while to sync it. It take maybe days or weeks sometimes, depending on how much content you got to sync it. But I ain't got nothing but time. But I went and checked it. And there's some shit called rumbles. Like, I guess when people hit likes, they don't call it likes, they call it rumbles. I got 508 of them shits, man. I don't know where they came from. I'm seeing views on the videos now, and they monetize, bro. All them joints.
That's good. I'm gonna
try to look into it to see how you get paid from that shit and everything. But I think the requirements is different. So it's like, why it makes sense now? Well, you do it because you still early in the game. If you sync your YouTube to that, everything you do on this is gonna go to that. So it's like you don't have to do twice the work, but your work is in more than one place, so you can maybe catch different eyes, maybe bring a different crowd. It's worth trying. It can't hurt.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. That's a good nugget, man. And I have
man. Damn, damn. How could I refer you, man? I should be able to refer you because I probably could refer your ass, man. But word, man, that Rumble, look into it. It's should seem like it's all right. Just another way for your content to maybe, and I think it's still new, so maybe you might be able to, gain some traction. What's underrated too, and I'm kind of against it. Fucking TikTok.
Yeah, I know. I've been
sleeping on TikTok, bro. Even with boxing content, some of these people got TikToks, and I'm wondering how these niggas be drawing these crowds. I got over 6,000 subs, my nigga. I had posted one post a while back, like 2 months ago. I posted it I posted it like say right now the time it is. I posted now, right? By this time in the morning, that shit was at 10K views. I'm like, the fuck? Damn, 10K. I'm like, all right, that's and I'm at the time I got like 1,700 and something subs at the time. I'm like 10K, that's way more than my subscriber base is. So a lot of people seen it. I'm like, cool. By the time my girl came home that same day, shit was at like 20K. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, okay. I woke up the next day. That shit was at like 30. Then it hit 40, then 50, then 60. That shit just kept going, man. That shit hit 100K. I'm like, then I seen it kept going. I'm like, how far is this shit gonna go? Man, that shit got to 3.8 million, bro. One little ass post, 8-second clip, got to 3.8 million. It got 3.8 million views. It got like over 2,000 comments, had like 34,000 likes. It had mad reshares. The comments, and I responded to everybody. When I say I responded to everybody, bro, I started looking at my subscriber count. That shit was jumping up like, I don't know. That shit was crazy. I couldn't believe it. Every time I look at it, I'm dead serious. I was just refreshing it every couple hours. I'm like, man, that shit got that one post got me over 4,000 something people, yo. 4,000, like 300 something, 4,000. One of them. I still got it in my phone, but I was supposed to remix that clip. And by remixing it, if I'd have put myself in the front of it and explained what happened and then played the clip, they wouldn't have gave me no issue. They fuck with my monetization over that one clip. That shit hit that big like that. I'm like, damn, 3.8. I've seen that shit hit 1 million and kept going. I'm like, how far is this shit gonna go? That shit got to 2, 2.5, got to 3, 3.5. I'm like, damn, got all the way close to 3.9, and then it capped out. Like, you know, motherfuckers want to stay. That shit hit the algorithm crazy.
So you gotta look up how it works. Like, you gotta look up what you can put in there before you can't just load. Like, you gotta look up the stipulations. Like, you didn't know the stipulations on it.
I did, but I still didn't. Like, I'm like, this one little ass clip. Like, I seen so many people have it posted, so it was just like a repost. And they're not transparent with the rules in terms of who they penalize and for what. Because I seen that same clip. I can show you the clip that I'm talking about. Like, it was I don't know if you remember Juan Manuel Lopez when he hooked off on the trainer at the end of the fight. He fought dude. He won the fight by knockout, but then he went after the dude trainer at the end of the fight and was hooking off on him. That shit went crazy. I had another video when Charlo and Danny Jacobs like ran into each other. And they had that back and forth. That shit hit like 140 something K. And it got me like 300-400 more subs. Like, that shit was crazy. Those two posts, but they're shorts. So I got people to subscribe, but they're not active like that. They might be somebody that watch a bunch of YouTube shorts. They don't really watch the content. So it's like, I got the numbers, but I want the people to tune in because a lot of the shit, the conversations we be having it deserve a bigger crowd. I'm telling you. I listen to a lot of content, bro. People don't put half the work and thought that we be putting into this shit. Like, we could cook. It don't even matter what we talking about. Like, we don't need no preparation. You don't need no bunch of shit to write down. It's just these niggas don't be
do. I don't be having on no pay. I just be knowing. I be consuming this stuff and I be looking, man, and I be watching and listening, man. I'm like, okay, I be wanting to jump into certain conversations and all that. Sometimes I just watch because if we're gonna talk about it, we gotta talk about it responsibly. You know what I'm saying? We gotta look at it from all these different angles. Like, I'm not just gonna tell you everything good about Tank. You know what I'm saying? Even though, you know, I'm not. I'll say, oh yeah, okay, cool. You know, like I'll give you a nugget. And I watch people that I don't necessarily. Sometimes I watch people that I don't necessarily overall agree with, and I have learned. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna leave with this one thing. I'm gonna leave with this last thing. It was a while ago, right? There was a lot of people like that was hating on Tank, and I was like, dang, like, what are they talking about? What are they saying? One dude that fundamentally in boxing overall, I don't agree. A lot of the stuff I don't agree. Because I know that they cater to the sensationalism and the anti of everything to garner that market. I don't want that because then you always got to be jumping, and I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? I want to highlight what you do well, You know what I'm saying? I'll touch on what you don't do well, and maybe some dark or some gray areas. You know what I'm saying? But I don't harp on that, right? As it relates to the boxing conversation, right? But I was watching him, and he said, "Man, the reason why he said the reason why Tank wasn't getting the big fights, or why he thought that Floyd wasn't letting them get the big fights, was, it's a certain level of success that you can give a young fighter or a fighter, and it can put them in a position where they'll have so much money, they'll have so much fame, they'll have all this, and maybe the activity outside of what they're doing inside of boxing, it might not be good for them."
Mm-hmm.
And I sat back and I chewed on. I said, "Yeah," I said, because you can't have somebody sign up for, a big mega fight or one of these big ass names, and you in litigation.
Yeah.
And it's another thing that whenever you do have something, the naysayers or the pessimists is always going to point back and say, "Oh man, look at him. He can't stay out of trouble now. He can't do this now." So I can have a conversation with anybody, or I can listen to anything and take away what I need to, even though I don't agree fundamentally what you're saying overall. But then that kind of stopped. That kind of made me say, you know what, I'm gonna fall back on Floyd and how I look at that whole thing, because being in that position, people can say whatever they want to say, but there's a ton of boxers. You got young boxers mimicking them now, like with the outfits they wearing in and who they looking up to, because that's who they've been looking up to.
Mm-hmm.
These young guys, some of them, right? You can look at all that, but at the end of the day, you got to look at Floyd and how he's running his business and where he got him at. And you got to understand that, man, maybe if some of them things would have happened early on as a fan, it would have been good. But how many times have we seen people get success, get a whole bunch of money, you know what I'm saying, get even higher than where he's at now,
Mm-hmm.
and they get shattered or they get a lawsuit or somebody, you know what I'm saying? So I had to consider that when I looked at Floyd, so that I have boxing conversations and all that, because it's like, it's never malicious for me. It's always just, because shit, we obsessed with boxing. We like the sweet science, so I welcome it, man. It's just how we handle it. But thanks for coming through and cooking, man. Hey, enjoy your evening. Thanks for stopping through. And I did have my lady subscribed to you already, so we good.
I'll make sure my girl do the same thing, man. We rocking with you, man. So we on this grind together. We gonna keep rocking out, man.
It's all good. Salute, man. And if you want to be a part of that Women Boxing Wednesday, that's the only thing I'm gonna be trying to push. You know what I'm saying? Like really trying to push. But outside of that, we'll be slinging topics back and forth.
Yeah, I got you. I'm with you. We tapped in.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, bro.
And thanks for everybody else who came through and watched, you know what I'm saying, and tuned in here at BodyWork Boxing. We don't take things for face value. We do that body work.